I want to talk about these FOMC minutes because they're coming in. These comments are coming in right now. And it's pretty hawkish, which is what we expected. They basically said they're expecting some slower progress on inflation, partially due to the incoming Trump administration, specifically with regards to trade and immigration plans. We've had a couple Fed speakers since the minute saying, or since the meeting, saying that we really need to wait and see what these policies are before we can act. So that will be really interesting here and eye-opening as of January 20th with the January 29th meeting on watch there for the FOMC. We also had, this is pretty interesting too, they said that they're at or near the point where it might be appropriate to slow the pace of easing rates, with some participants even saying they would have been okay with no cut during December. So that is a really good point. And apparently, though, almost all participants said that this easing is going to have to slow down. So keep in mind here, we had the Fed FOMC rate tool showing that we weren't probably expecting any cuts till July. We're to take a look now to see how that has changed. But this CME Fed watch will be huge here, guys. Basically, this is the market here trying to make a lower low in this most recent area. As of right now, no change. 95.2% of participants still expecting that we will have rates steady. But we're going to have to wait and see what happens as we have participants continuing to I guess, to digest this news. Just to clarify, it was hawkish. We even had some participants saying they would have been okay with no cut during the December meeting, guys. Back to you. Over to the guys.
All right. Thank you, Adair. We just took Tesla right now. We'll take $1 on it. I mean, market looks like it wants to head a little bit to the downside. The Fed minutes are never really that big of a deal, but, we're back into trading again. We've been shorting Tesla in this area. Profit out once it broke 398, but then we went for a walk. We should have shorted 400. The easiest trade of the whole day was right here when we weren't even sitting here, I feel like, when this came right back into the 200 period, AMD, and then again right now. So we got to stay on this tip. But yeah, so far so good. Just holding two shorts, man. We're $2 in the money on AMD. That's still from the beginning. And then right now $1. We actually have Oklo long as well. That's $1 in the money as well. So right now, a couple trades. We'll wait to see. I want to give Tesla some more room up to 400, but hope everyone had a great midday there. A good show. Playmaker poll, won or lost? Lost. So we got to change the name, man. Playmaker's going to start to get upset about the results there.
Roll over. The timing's unfortunate for that Playmaker poll because if we're being,
but that's hindsight.
I know it. No, it's not. Because I feel like the problem is
1 o'clock every day.
Yeah, the problem is though, like the voting happens, the bulk of it in that half an hour before. And if you look at it from that time frame when most people are voting, that was a clear upward move, and then the timing ends up being poor. I almost feel like it's open for too long. Like it's a long window. Maybe
it's going to be under 50% anyways.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Like 95% of day traders lose money.
I would do it this way.
This is anywhere near 50%, 50, I think is great. But
I would almost do it where like if it's like 50 to 55%, then you take X amount of shares, and if it's like 55 to 60, so that the day that 90% of the people agree that it's a long, you're not taking the exact same amount as when 51% of the people agree that it's a long.
That's actually a good one.
That's about the only thing I would change there because it's just weird. Like it was literally a coin flip today, so the fact that maybe there's like a no trade option should be in there. There was just now Halter. It was that IMG. So I know Sharif was on this one. Maybe both the boys. Well, I know Sharif was on this one. So IMG just halted. Why is it? That's kind of weird. Like I have like a candle out of nowhere, and then this halt at 113. So maybe this will fill in a second. But to the upside, halted. It's not the first time it's halted today. It's done about 13 million in volume, which is good, not great. So I just want to throw that out there. But IMG with a tap of 115 and a halt of 113. I'm only in Rigetti. I actually got shaken out of Tesla right before the Fed minutes came back on. It did this VWAP hold because it had this. Look at the trend on Tesla from the bottom. From 387, it just trended back up. It didn't get to 400. Had a violent break of trend, which kind of sucks because it means that you're not shorting the trend break until it's already dropped $2.50. But then it looked like it was going to crater through VWAP and then trailed out. So VWAP holding on Tesla. Obviously, that's going to be worth watching. If you're watching anything this morning, you know that the quantum names have taken it on the chin and has since have had some recovery. So a lot of these are off the bottom. Rigetti, IonQ, D-Wave, QUBT, QBTS, which is D-Wave, but like they're going sideways now. So this is the local bottom. really like $9 a low, then a higher low got put in. It trended up for over an hour to then completely stall at $10.40. And now just going sideways on Rigetti. So a lot of consolidation happening. So just trying to short the top and see if these ones want to play continuation. I think we all know what happened this morning. If you weren't trading this morning or you weren't listening last night when Jensen essentially tanked the entire or reversed the entirety of the quantum move in just a few words, yeah, it's been a healthy bleed back in. Like some of these are intense. Like Rigetti more than cut in half from the highs. And I get it. If you're long at $1 on this stock, you're laughing. You're not out of the money, but anybody that got caught up at that top is in a world of hurt on those quantum names. So we'll see. The market is barely down on the NASDAQ, and it's been an inside day for the futures. Like we've had like a couple of breaks of the low, one test of the high, and everything else in between. So, it hasn't been a wild volatility day within the overall market, NASDAQ and ES, but individual names, completely different story.
All right, yeah, we're going to go get ready for the stock rundown. We want to thank everybody for voting in the middle of the day. And to Neil's point, yeah, I think it's just like give a little bit more of a stop space and maybe a little bit less shares because the market's just kind of back and forth. You don't, pretty much every trade besides, even on AMD, we got stopped out at one point today, luckily able to get back in. But it's like every trade is pretty much stopping out. Like it's getting into the money for you. You're going to have to take that. Then it rips sort of against you and then you get out. So it's just kind of like a back and forth day. We'll talk about that more as we go. But the futures right now, yeah, back to zeros again. So close your eyes from yesterday at 4 o'clock, open them up now and you would see the same prices. All right, Oklo dollar in the money, AMD going, Peloton moving. And Joe, oh no, it's Sharif, my bad. Sharif there over at the screen. So let's go with the stock rundown.
Welcome everyone to the Afternoon Rundown, the show where you decide what we talk about every afternoon. The boys locked and loaded, ready to look at the tickers as decided by you. So join Joe and I during the How to Trade show during the midday and get into that chat and vote for your favorite tickers every day. But you got to be a subscriber in order to contribute to the chat. So make sure you are subscribed. Let's have a look at the triple Qs here. So essentially flat, the ES, the Dow, and the NQ just marginally red at the moment. That could change by the time I'm finished speaking. It's the Russell 2000 that's decidedly red on the day, down 0.2%. So keep an eye on the major averages. Fubo, the #1 ticker decided by you guys today, up a lot less than it was yesterday, up 6.33%, but holding on to some of the gains from yesterday and the day prior. In case you're just joining us after a few days, Fubo and Disney entering into a definitive agreement, and that had MKM raising their price target, guys, yesterday from $2 to 4 3/4 on Fubo.
Day 3 for Fubo here, and look, 2 days ago was the monster day for Fubo. Yesterday felt like, okay, gave it up a little bit, but there were some late opportunities, kind of felt like a head and shoulders. Today, Fubo's just been trending back into the upside. And ultimately, it never really broke down underneath. It was kind of a resistance and turnaround spot on day 1, and then afternoon support at 450, so it held that eventually into a high of the day, red to green breakout. So it double topped at the prior close, which you don't see that happen very often. So you had a lot of confluence at that high day break. Essentially, the break went to $6 and turned around. So it was like a break of 543, and then the best, you could have got 611. My best was like 598 or something like that. But I'm now out of Fubo. I think it's gone through the head and shoulders. If it can hold above prior close, there might be another salvo in here. Let's go to the 3-minute chart. But you're out and about above VWAP. I'd love to see it maybe retest that breakout price here for Fubo. Do like the name. Volume, it's worth mentioning. Like the volume's good, but remember on day 1, this thing did 700 and something million shares. It's now done about 140, so it's not quite the volume beast it was before. I seriously doubt you're going to get anything resembling what we saw 2 days ago on Fubo. Just sort of treat it as more of a station to station and work the trend as opposed to super parabolic moves. Hyperbolic.
Yeah, hyperbolic, parabolic, some kind of anabolic, steroids. Shout out to Major League Baseball. All right. it's so funny. The best of times in Major League Baseball was steroid era, but that's fine. I mean, maybe it comes back. Who knows? They need to do something.
Did it leave?
exactly. 21. I was just going to look here on the futures, right? I mean, you're getting close. This is just what's happening. I'm still feeling pretty short. I mean, 50 period, 200 period. This is a 30-minute chart on the NASDAQ. Looks like it wants to point to the downside. But, you got to be aware that we could start to break. I mean, I don't know. The Fed, generally speaking, there on that release, didn't get too much movement there. I mean, I guess since 2 o'clock. I mean, that starts at sort of, that movement is like 03s. So about 5 straight minutes to the upside. We take advantage of that and shorted more Tesla. We'll wait to see if that one can come in. First area of support for Tesla, 97. So we're short right here. We're flat on the trade now at we're at 397.70s. We wanted to short. We're just, as I said, using less shares and trying to be less specific on our prices. Just know that we want to stay short. So that's what I'm trying to do right now with Tesla. Oklo, a good trade there too. All right, Fubo, man. Fubo, we had 100% or something like that on the very first day when we bought the $3 break. That seems obviously really good. Now, just looking back, the last couple of days, when the stock gaps up like this, actually gapped down today, right? Down into 460. So that to me, whenever you have a decent gap, I always try to play it like it's an earnings play. And by the way, there's Tesla. We told you about holding it. So it goes from like $1 out of the money to now 50 cents in the money. We'll wait. But anyways, right there, that 460, let it settle down, find a base. That's right off the open. So again, some of the pre-market lows hold, just like an earnings play, and then off to the races upside. I always think that you want to follow the 50-period moving average. So if you did that, you might have got some out here at 520. You might have got some more out at 520 again. And then there is the sort of the high move, then the cross low below $6. So yeah, I feel like that's the great out for you. And if you're still holding it, fantastic, obviously, but yeah, some good outs up there near $6. So yeah, congratulations to anybody that had that one. I know Neil was on that. There's $6 right there on the daily. The best you could have gotten throughout this whole time was $6.50 or so. So I think you did pretty good there. Anything north of $6. Go, Fubo, go. But right now we are more than $1. I mean, I don't want to say is what it is, but there it is. There's the hold. We'll get out twice now on Tesla and see if we can't get a little bit lower. So some good outs there for us on Tesla. And yeah, we'll see if we can hold for this pullback in on the market. My next bid, $394.50.
94.50.
The blood continues on Palo Alto Networks. PAN-W down 2 2/3% today off the record highs that put it in at 210. And this list of rating agencies all downgrading and reducing their price target on Palo Alto Networks is concerning, specifically for me, because I am involved in this name. So here we got Guggenheim downgrading the stock from neutral to sell and lowering the price target to $130, excuse me. Then you also had Deutsche Bank downgrading from buy to hold and lowering its price target from 207 down to 190. And then BTIG joined in the downgrade party here, downgrading it to neutral. Can't really see the price target there, but it was a downgrade from buy to neutral, guys. Off the lows at 167, back above 170 now, but it's been a tough week and a half for Palo Alto Networks.
So PAN-W trades at 40-something forward and 40 times PE. So like they're both very expensive. It's now in that zone. So I'm going to show you the daily chart, and then on the weekly chart, it's a similar thing, but it's right back into the 200 period on the daily chart. Now, obviously, whether or not we get retests of those August lows, that was a good support low at that 140, but it's a DCA time in. I had sold some crowd at the top and was putting, just waiting for the dip to put it into PAN-W. So I'm starting to put that money in, started with some today. But it's the 50 there, the 200 period, on the daily, and then the 50 period on the weekly, lining up. So both of these have been respected on the higher time frame. On the weekly, ideally, you'd like to see it close above. But sign me up if it gets to the 200 period on the weekly. That's an all-in kind of situation if it gets to $120. But keep in mind, it's a pricey stock. If it gets down to like a 30p, then you're gonna like it a heck of a lot better. I always trade these. They've always traded a bit of a premium in the cybersecurity space. Whoops, realized I was on an AMD chart on my 3 minutes. Sorry guys. But PAN-W, is actually trying to break out here now, but on relatively light volume. Like there isn't much of a catalyst here for it. It could just be that it's a technical bounce. Market didn't break the lows. It's bouncing off a major moving average, and maybe you're getting a technical breakout after kind of a false bottom, I would guess. But I don't think there's enough volume and volatility for it for the day trade, unfortunately. I think, like why not be looking at the Fubos of the world and the Teslas of the world? Like that's going to be a better trading opportunity. But PanW is getting into a buy zone. You just got to be patient because it's still very, very expensive on a fundamental basis.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what exposure I have on PanW because I've been in CrowdStrike's been great. Yeah, so I'm still only up. I mean, I'm only up 30% I mean, PanW is still a good stock. There's no doubt about that. I was trying to find out how much I have in PanW versus CrowdStrike, but I definitely like the CrowdStrike trade. All right, we got out of some Tesla there we got out of half. At the 50-period moving average right there as it came back in. So that was $1. We were short 98. We talked about that. There's $1. We actually got something a little bit lower than that. Let's see if we do get a little bit lower on that one. Yeah, look, Neil just went over Palo Alto. It's a stock that I've been probably held for 20 years. But CrowdStrike, though, I mean, this is the one for me. I mean, it's been holding up. So, yeah. I mean, if anything, maybe I'll sell. I mean, we're long down here on this drop. Like, I hadn't bought any CrowdStrike since, until we had that sort of malfunction there. And then CrowdStrike basically from 210, 220, 230, all the way up to 380 right now. Probably good. Maybe switch out of this and into some Palo Alto. I don't think that's a horrible strategy at all right now. That's probably the best thing to do. We'll think about that, but all right, Tesla.
Before we get to Tesla, Hive Digital Technologies, which is HIVE on the NASDAQ, pioneering the digital transformation through sustainable AI solutions and Bitcoin mining. A global leader in cutting-edge data center operations with over 2,700 Bitcoin in their balance sheet. Hive consistently tops the industry in Bitcoin mined per exahash and is redefining the future by powering the world's most transformative technologies with efficient, green, and clean energy. Learn more by following them on socials at Hive Digital Tech or at hivedigitaltech.com and sign up for the Hive newsletter for updates. Scan the QR code you see in front of you. Yeah. Check the link in the description. You know who else has some Bitcoin on their balance sheet? Is Tesla. Who has some Tesla on their balance sheet?
Yeah, they definitely do. All right, guys, Tesla, interesting. Got a couple of headlines today. Looks like Grok is going to be included into Tesla's very soon. Grok is obviously their AI large language model, says Elon Musk. We'll have to see when the rollout comes out there. Separately, Marquise Brownlee, otherwise known as MKBHD, came out with a video and ranked Tesla's full self-driving FSD as one of the best, among the best assisted driving systems, but adds, obviously, everything that we already know, that it's not perfect, guys.
Yeah, I mean, what new technology is going to be perfect, right? Like, that's the reality. But look, obviously, Tesla, it's a very good recovery for it to be green today. It's somewhat mirroring the markets. Tests of the highs, tests of the lows. Right now, as you can see, it made a big trend back into 400 for reversion. I'm just looking for a test of that 400. It did the revert and bounced off VWAP, which is kind of bullish. So maybe a run at the $400 level for a curl. Ultimately, I just don't see until it breaks out and holds bids above 400 how it's bullish on Tesla. Like, it's one thing to wick it, but if there's buyers consolidating and making higher highs and higher lows over 400, then you can convince me that the selling has abated here on Tesla. So, it's still obviously a resistance level until it's not at the 400, which we're basically staring at as we speak. Probably going to test that if this market continues this malaise toward the top, which it keeps on reverting.
Oh boy, let's go bang right now. We're trying to do it, guys. There goes Oklo right there at $1.30 now. We just get that fill. up and around 26.50, right ahead of VWAP. So I just want to let everybody know that's a most recent fill for us. Yeah, Tesla's a pretty good stock. I mean, we were short early, very early, right off the open there. Had a huge move down, right? Short 400. It was the number. We haven't made any NVIDIA trades, so we'll talk about the number one then idea on here that I actually traded, and that was Tesla short in and around $400. And I mean, we wrote down 398, 400, so we did hit that short. It was a great one. Then we went long, breaking through 400, thinking that giddy up, the market's here, and then the market wasn't. And then we fell back down. So right now we're just, so we were short there, got stopped out. We were short, made money. Now we're short again, looking to possibly get stopped out again, but not until the high of the day. So I'm trading less shares, waiting for bigger moves right now in Tesla. So we're out of half. I told you my next bid is at VWAP. I made a mistake. It's not 94, it's 95. So we're waiting at 395 or so to see if we get this fill. Like, I know that's $3 from now, but like I said, we're flat on the trade right now. We just took $1 out for half. Pretty comfortable, obviously, in this position. So I think that's what we'll do. We'll sit here and we'll wait, see if we get VWAP, see if we get something a little bit lower. And if the NASDAQ just wants to play a game, fine. We have jobs on Friday. Like, I don't expect much to happen until then, except for downside. So we had a jobs report this morning, which was lower than expected. I mean, I think you're going to come in with a pretty hot number maybe there on Friday, which will send this market into the depths of hell. So we'll wait to see what winds up happening right there come Friday. But for right now, we'll hold short on Tesla until it takes out the high of the day.
Down says, why, Lisa, why? But I bet you it's Lisa saying, why HSBC, why downgrading our stock from $200, it was a double downgrade, by the way, from buy to reduce, and reducing the price target from $200 down to 110. Tough day, obviously, for AMD, down 4 1/3%. Was reading through some of the report by HSBC. They're not really too keen on some of the technology that's slated to be released by AMD this year, guys.
Before we jump to AMD, just want to get to a couple of super chats. Thank you very much to both Marty and Nimrod in the chat. Nimrod, you left for a 2-day vacation. I hope you enjoyed it. When the markets broke records, return to this stock crypto apocalypse. Apocalypse is harsh, but maybe you could call it that for some of the quantum names. Forgot a stop loss on quantum stocks. Any positive news outlook data for the next week other than shorting New Zealand? In terms of positive data, I don't necessarily, there's not any big catalysts out there. Sean mentioned we have jobs at the end of the week. And for the quantum names, I can't see what gets them off the schneid, right? Like, there was such a big, massive run up, and then the cold water got thrown on there by dually. It was actually not just Jensen, but if you read Martin Shkreli, he put a pretty solid note out there for the short case on all of the quantum stocks. So just be careful. Always have those stops when you can. And another super chat here, Marty, the 140 Magnet on NVIDIA, right? Magnet, regardless of what market does, it just seems to always want to get to that price. NVIDIA feeling squeezy in the next few days? Okay, I still kind of feel a little bit bearish, but by the way, I look forward to seeing Neil in a Broncos hat. I'm glad you're looking forward to it, but unfortunately, it's just not going to happen because the Bills are going to cover the spread. So we'll be good to go for that. And we appreciate the fun that will be had, but I think the Bills are going to handle some business, and let's just say win 29 to call it 17. I'm just going to throw that. I think we'll score under 30, just under 30 points, and you guys will be in the team.
They have a good D, Broncos.
Yeah, they have a good D, so we're not going to score 40 because they have a pretty good defense.
I agree. I mean, I think it'll be. What is the spread? 8.5? I don't know. Do you guys agree on a number?
It was I think
whatever
it was.
It is on game.
He said, "Look, I think Marty said 9." So I didn't even check. I just assumed you looked at the spread and you said as long as they cover 9, and I was like, I'm fine with that. Like whatever the spread is, as long as the Bills cover, I think we're fine with it. I mean, you're gonna look it up.
No, I just want to think. I thought we were playing at the same time. Sunday at 1 o'clock. No, we're Sunday at 4. Yeah, they don't do playoff games at the same time.
How come the Bills are the 2 seed and we get the because whatever.
The Bills is a very small market.
Yeah, I know. They never prime time.
But whatever. That's better for the Bills. 1 p.m.
It is. That's our usual.
I just feel like you don't want that Sunday night game where the weather. Like, I know the weather is good for Buffalo, but I just feel like imagine it's like a snowstorm. It's just an excuse. Like in ideal conditions, I think Buffalo wins. I think it's an advantage if the weather is super bad. What's up to super bad? Everybody that loves that. McLovin. AAPL.
Good movie. Oh shoot, we're supposed to talk about
it. No, I mean, whatever, I got it. It is your number one stock. Another one. Again, it was also the number one stock. What? Apparently that lunch was pretty good. I didn't get any of that tandoori
very
chicken. I was a
good.
little late to the party on that one, but we did have egg salad on the salad, which
Really
is
good.
I appreciate it. I mean, to me, it's better than half the other stuff we have. Okay, just real quick, man. I mean, AMD, we just did it again, and I said that we missed that trade. We should have had that trade right there. We did not take anything out at the bottom. That was 120 flat. I was hoping for a 120 break. We have like less than 5% left of these trades, so we're just gonna wait to see if we can get a reload. Right now, I'm picking my poison with Tesla. I don't want to be short the whole freaking boat here. I'm also looking short before we go back over there. I'm actually looking short the Qs as well into this level right here. So 81.30. I just want to play off the high of the day and give it a little bit of room. If it wants to blast higher than that, we'll give it about 20 or 30 cents or about 10, 15 handles or so. If it rips up through there, fine. But that's the TQQs looking to go short right into here. The 200 period is 81.65. I'm going to go a little bit earlier than that, around 81.30. If we do get the NASDAQ, I'm looking short on the NASDAQ. So around that 21, what are we at now? 21.4. So in and around 21.4, but near the high of the day for the Qs. But that's AMD. Look, it's already 2:30. Why do we go over, unless you want to say anything? I don't know.
It's at VWAP, but so is NVIDIA. So I think both AMD and NVIDIA at VWAP are going to be, I think they're a thing if you're looking for shorts. I mean, if you're looking for the long, it's kind of tricky underneath VWAP where it is. Bitcoin on sale, not yet. Discounts may be coming soon.
Ooh. I like things on sale. Get
your checks book. No, nobody uses checks anymore. I was going to say, get your checkbooks ready. All right, guys, IBIT down 1.75%, below $54. There's really no specific headline today for Bitcoin, but it obviously sold off aggressively yesterday off that $100,000 break. Separately this morning, I was reading an article about a technical look on Bitcoin. Looks like we were oversold on the RSI on the 1 hour chart. Last time that happened, according to this article, was back at $60,000. Let's see how Bitcoin closes today, guys. IBIT down 1 2/3 now.
Well, good timing, because I just got
short the Qs.
I just got trailed out on Mara.
This might not
I was
work.
just mentioning checkbooks. I mean, junior high, I actually remember learning. We had a teacher that would teach us like life skills, and one of them was, reading your bank statement and writing a check and all this stuff and the value of saving. And it was pretty. I mean, it was good at the time. Obviously, it's pretty useless now. But Bitcoin. Look, I think we're headed to, hey, my Fed Funds tool page is not, look at that. Maybe so many people are checking the Fed Funds page that you can't even load it right now. I know I've refreshed it a couple times. If I do it a third time, it'll probably work.
Probably.
But I actually moved this chart here from BTC to the US 10 year, so allow me to change it back.
I don't think the features are going to.
We made the bounce again in front of 92,000. It's been a few times that we've done this. There's your 15-minute. Where is the support on BTC? It's at 92K. And once again, you get a bounce off of this. I don't think we're out of the water. It's another fail of 100. And if you pull it out to let's go to the daily chart. So yeah, we tried to break above 100 again, another fail. I think if you lose 92, we're headed down to 85. You lose 85. Then we're looking at somewhere in those 70s where we definitely want to look to load the boat on BTC. So that's the higher time frame look on Bitcoin. Mara was an easy short early, but hey, now that the market's bounced, or Bitcoin has bounced, it's made a nice recovery. So it was clean off the 19 level and then 18.5, but I was just in the short underneath 18.5, and now it's back above the half. It was a pretty wild reversion at the bottom. I covered the short at that price and then went back to shorting it in front of VWAP in 1850. But now you're getting higher highs and higher lows. So I guess I'm going to back off this until it gets right back into that top, and we'll look for a mean revert. Because now that it's trending up, it's got a pretty clean trend up. Allow it to break the trend, and then I would get into the short again on MARA. That's the one I'm kind of focused on here.
All right, here we go, guys. Big time trade alert again on the TQs. As here we go, guys. We have this trade, and oh boy, Neil, did we put on some shares this time? And oh yes, we did. Bang right there for Tesla. Bang for the Qs. I mean, there it is. We just shorted this exact trade. We now have, this is like 50 handles now in the money. So there goes the TQs to that downside. Big time trade alert. As soon as we went over to the screen, I'm like, oh, we're in the Qs and we're short Tesla again. So there it goes. Big time trade alert. The Qs, Neil, actually now going pretty much to P&L number one on the day. Just still AMD still there, but making a big move now is the futures. And shout out to my guy, Obi, in the background, because he's always like, man, we should just be trading the futures. And there it goes again right there. Oh boy, what's up, Bobby? Oh boy, that was something else there, Neil. And you know what? Real traders unite, guys. I mean, this is what we're talking about. We are waiting for these moves with open hands. There it is again, Neil. Wow. There's Tesla now $1.50 in the money. I just like when it works out. I mean, obviously we have the shares and we have the trade on here right now. But oh boy, Neil, I mean, I don't know how easy it is to call these trades, but that's 21,430 down to 21,370. Neil, we're 50 to 60 handles now in the money on the futures. Oh boy.
Oh boy, great look, and that's the kind of trade that turns everything around. And here comes Tesla. It's about to break that trend as we speak. So at the end of the day, everyone has to trade their own strategy. I don't want to be this. I want to be this. So we're going to do it again. The second we close underneath here, now we can jump into the short side of it. You got to trade your own style, everybody. Like, I don't want to necessarily try to pick the top, but you just had a massive curl. I'm going to be back in tomorrow underneath that 18.5.
Oh boy.
So we're going to go back to the well, but we have to go trend revert. The NASDAQ has done it again. It's just failed that high of the day break, and the flush is going to be ongoing. You did just see NVIDIA pull underneath VWAP pretty nastily as well, but you got to be willing to jump back in. Like, I'll get wicked out, but it instantly reversed the trend right after. There's your trend up. My stop at 18.5. It reversed the trend. I jump into the trade. Stop goes to the high of the day, so it's very, very linear. I think whether you're up, down, left, right, and center, just as long as you have a rule of action. Where are you getting in? Where is your out? And where is your target? I see that IMG still moving. I haven't had a chance to look at the small caps because we're focused on a very small amount of names here. I'm looking at Mara, I'm looking at Tesla, I'm looking at NVIDIA off of VWAP, and a little bit of Fubo, though Fubo looks like it is dead. So I might move this level to Fubo looks pretty much dead at this point. Might look for another small cap. You guys let me know what small cap is moving around, because it doesn't look like Fubo wants to give us round 2.
Look, give Neil some small cap names. Well, I mean, we're here on the futures. And as Neil said, man, everyone's got to trade their own style. And as long as your style is something like this, then it don't matter what your style is. And there it goes, the downside. I just want to thank everybody for subscribing. I mean, we talk about it, and Adam DeLuce and all the people that trade in the chat. You guys know how tough trading is. And so it is one of those things where, like, my style is to scalp this all out. You know, and there it comes down. Obviously, if we held the whole thing all the way to the bottom right now, we would be up a lot more money. But it is what it is. And that's why I don't have a problem always telling you guys where the #1 P&L stocks are here on the show, just so you guys can see the opportunities that are there for you, right? I mean, like Neil said, there's going to be opportunities everywhere, depending on what style you are. I mean, again, one of the top stocks here today is Silo. There it is. Like, we could talk about all these stocks. This is still actually, this because Qs were not fully out of it all yet, this is still the second P&L name here on the day. We go AMD, a mega cap name, is P&L #1, and then here's SILO, to Neil's point about trading your style, right? Like, I have 10 different styles, but for this one, I mean, there it goes. And there's the win right there to the upside on SILO. Randy, we back in the business right now, Randy, because there's Tesla with that short, huge short, man. 400 down into 397. We are getting extended right now to the downside. So I just hope everybody's there. What's up, Medical Marinara? That's hilarious. I might steal this right there.
Medical Marinara.
Thank you for that, man. I mean, like I said, we got super chatted yesterday for the trade of the day with AMD, and this futures trade right now is most likely, you know, I mean, just the fact that we peg the bottom there and then get out being a pig all the way down here to $80.60 right here. So this, Randy, in just 3 minutes, this becomes P&L #2 right there. We probably traded, how many names did you trade, Joe? It doesn't matter. 10, 40 names. And right there, this name just instantly shoots up the top. But all right, 5 names. Only 5 names. Good job there. Yeah, no, I didn't buy lunch because we went swimming. We did all of that. But if you want me to buy you lunch, Randy, we can get that figured out at any time.
The lunch was too good to be buying lunch.
No, watch out, man. I might hit some keys right there. But shout out to Randy right there. We're a little busy, guys. We have 4 positions right now. We have $1.25 on AMD. We have $1.20 right now on Oklo. We have $3, Neil, $3 right now on Tesla. And then we have just small little 50 to 60 handle winner right now on the futures. So yeah, man, so far so good.
So far, so good. And shout out to Randy, by the way. I thought it was Randy did a great job with that, the talk about those EVs. I feel like every time there's EV news, I just want to defer to Randy. So new position for me, trend revert. It's going to be on NVIDIA. So there's your uptrend into VWAP. There's your test. There's your break, short, stop, prior bar high. If it breaks, we'll maybe look at VWAP or something along those lines. I just saw that Hoth stock start to go again. So it looks like this might be one. Up 10%. There was obviously news in the middle of the day to get it going because it was cold as, well, I mean, it was like, yeah, this was nasty for most of the day, like a lot of the small caps were. But it looks like it has a chance at a breakout. It just reverted the trend. I want to see some higher lows, but there's your trend revert. If it holds 240 and makes a higher low, then I want to be into the long on Hoth. I like the fact that you've also got VWAP to correspond with it. So we just got back into Mara, and if it breaks VWAP, we'll start getting out on the road to 18 even. So right back to the well for the short that I love in MARA. It always seems to bleed. Like Mara and Fubo were the reasons why, like today, despite it being rough, like today was a green day because of Fubo and Mara, but Fubo's dead. Can't stress that enough. Volume looks pretty terrible. I'm moving that over to Hoth.
Breathe. I just want to give a lot of respect to all of our viewers because you guys have stayed here. You stayed with us. And we just want to thank everybody because, you know, names like I've never even seen, I mean, Salvador, I don't know if you post that often or not, but thank you so much for the kind comments here in the chat. I mean, it is what it is. Daryl flinched, exactly. Congratulations. We're eating on that short. Like, you know, my kids are like, you ate. It's like, come on, man, you know, 8, 9, 10, you know, you ever heard that joke? Why did 7, 8, 9, 10? All right, so at the end of the day,
That's a dad joke.
Yeah, that's a dad joke. Yeah, we're really feeling it, obviously, as you guys can see here one more time there. We are covering. We only have like 15% left of this TQQ trade. Like it is moving gangbusters right now for us. So we're really sort of pleased how this is all moving and working out for us. So we got to say a shout out to everybody that tailed this trade and everybody like you as well, Daryl Flinch, and everybody else that tailed this Tesla trade, or you had it yourself. I mean, we had this Tesla trade from the get up right there, short 4 bills. So it was nice that one came through again. I'm thinking about maybe just pairing off here. The futures aren't doing anything, which is why it's kind of like, oh my God, like when the market actually moves, we got to, you know, respect that because that was sort of the reason why we went into the short there. I'm going to see if we can get some out of 19s. The reason we got, and again, I could punch out right now 16s and maybe get some midpoints and get like 17 or 18, but then I got to pay for them, which is probably fine. I mean, if this goes down 2 pennies, then it's not worth me doing what I'm doing right now. Oh man, we just got something else. We just got another TQQ fill right there as that's going down. We're $1 in the money almost on those futures where that one just came from. But at the end of the day here, they're still not doing anything. We got to take advantage of getting out of some more Oklo there. It went up into 40s. Now it's trying to fade back just a little bit. So we're going to have to watch out for that. There goes Tesla too, man. Tesla, we also got a fill there. Let's see if this can go back down. We're still bidding some 395s from time. So let's see if we can get that fill right now on Tesla. But again, thank you so much to everybody, man. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. You know, as long as they'll have me, I'm going to keep coming back. So we're still here, and we're here tomorrow as well. And we'll talk about some long-term strategy, what we have planned for maybe some buys in the new year, which is right now. Even though there is no show, no market.
Well, there's
tomorrow,
no market. Well, US
there
market.
is a show. And the reason, look, I've already talked about why I'm negative on the market, right? And I've said this, and it's the next time this market is open, in my opinion, we're going to have probably not a great jobs number to deal with. The market's closed tomorrow. It opens up. Oh my, Neil, right now. Let's go, man. Shout out to Daryl and everybody else in the chat as the futures just continue to pour to that south side, and we've got it. Like, yeah, we're excited. Of course we're excited. Look, I mean, these trades that we have on, we're excited. You know, so good move to the downside there for Tesla, trying to break, man. We're getting lighter and lighter on all these because the market really has given us what we wanted. Even before this happened, Neil, and this is what real trading is all about, right? You and I giving our levels, taking the trades that are there, executing on them to plan, making some money, getting those super chats, getting a great camaraderie, getting everybody here together. There it is. You're welcome. There's Nick W. again for that. I mean, look, man, just keep on bringing it up. You know, this is what we're doing. We're showing you live trades, and there's another one brought to you by Tesla and 400. So nice move to the downside. 396 and change. Now 350 in the money for Tesla. My next bid is 395.25. I may get something out right now, though.
Yeah, let's get them. That's like a,
oh my God,
that's a wall at 96
now.
So 140 is about to break on NVIDIA, VWAP, Tesla, and the futures are also going to be at the volume weighted average price. I roll back in tomorrow, but it hasn't broken VWAP just yet. I'm looking for the place to add tomorrow. If it does a break of VWAP, I'll look for underneath VWAP to try to add to this one. Hoth, I still want to look for that long, but at this point, you know, you want to hold on to your shorts if you got them, hold them if you got them. As far as I'm concerned, I'm pretty bearish as well. There was a question in the chat, and it was about the futures. Markets are all closed tomorrow. I'm not sure about when you would get the futures open for the overnight session. I'd have to double check when you're going to be able to trade. So I think Adaro's going to be able to look into that. And I don't know what Blue Ocean is doing either, like what the timing is for Blue Ocean, whether you get a regular evening tomorrow. But as far as we're concerned, the big catalyst is going to be in the morning on Friday morning, everybody. So that could be a big mover. Nothing burger as far as the Fed today and their meeting minutes. I think they told us what we needed to hear, what we already expected to hear. Pace of slowing obviously is going to drop down. So only one new position. Check that. Well, new to get back into Mara, and then we're in NVIDIA, and I still like Hoth. It just put in the higher low that we're looking for, so it broke the trend down. There's your higher low, holding on to 250. Prior bar bottom is 245. So if we look for the longs off at 250 area with a stop underneath that 245. So I'm just going to pop on the bid. I wanted to see it bounce, make that higher low, see if we can run it into the high of the day. Bit of a mean revert on Hoth here. I should probably check what locates are just so I have them in the back pocket. But for now, only looking to go long into the high of the day in Hoth. And for additional targets, even if it breaks the high, $3 resistance here on Hoth. So looking for the long, we just grabbed it. We're going to give it to this prior bar bottom, which is actually at 243. So I'm just going to move that by a couple of cents. And then working it into the high of the day. High of the day right now, 279. So if we break into the 60s, we'll scalp out into the high of the day, hold some for $3 on Hoth. Always going to be a bit of a halt potential here on this name. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be the runner. And if you want longs, you're probably going to be looking at some kind of inverse, volatility, or a small cap this afternoon.
We're over 100 handles now in the money and really starting to bleed in the market. So, yeah, you have any questions for me at all? What's up, Tisha Perkins? Yo, Yylin, man, Yylin die. I don't know if you're just here for the first time or not a long time, but am I leaning towards more bullish or more bearish? On today's sticky note, I had only short ideas. And I've only really been short everything except for Oklo today. Every single position I feel like has been. I mean, we had long silo, but as far as the market, yeah, I'm pretty bearish about the market. But that could all change. Like I don't have an inside track on what the futures are going to bring us on Friday. I have no idea what that sort of look is going to be when we talk about Fed funds or what's going to change if and when. Oh, not when, if the number comes on the jobs number comes hotter or cooler. I don't know, but I'm thinking that we're going to miss and the market will start reeling to the downside. And the Fed has already showed their hand by cutting already, which is probably a mistake. And so I still got some makeup and stuff on the hat. We've just made just so everybody knows. I mean, we don't talk about P&L, but we just made back on these two trades basically the whole kit and caboodle. So, I mean, wrap everybody up into one. And that trade right there, just on the Qs and just on Tesla there, big trades for me and brought it back. So we're really, really happy today. It's going to be a big day for us. Obviously, very well positive. We're going to look at Oklo here, though, and we're going to talk about this because we just got some more out. Now, we talked about the nuclear names, the uranium names, all starting to go, and then we have some quantum names.
Quantum, yeah.
So I just, we talked about this earlier today, and I was like, you know what? If this name comes in, it was one of the names holding out. There's other names down 40, 50% today. You know, I just didn't find my way into them. Oklo was tough because we just kept going, swinging and missing, swinging and missing, and swinging and missing. And now we actually feel like, you know, a Hall of Fame baseball player because we go 1 for 3. So we made some money here, lost right there. We actually have an out right here as well, where we lost again right here. So we tried to buy 25s basically. Once it broke 25s, we gave it 20 cents and got out. Then it broke 25 again, and that's where we're long at 24.97. So I think, I'm not sure what happened there, but the play was going to go back to the upside through 25. So I guess we got a little bit early. And there it goes back to the upside. So we'll go 1 for 3 on Oklo and just trying to see if it wants to go a little bit higher. I mean, we're underneath that VWAP. We are covering everything. So we just covered some more down here. We talked about having less than 10%, or sorry, 15%. Now we have exactly 10% left as we got VWAP down there. You can go high of the day down to VWAP and down to the 200 period. I think we take that on a flat Qs day. Very, very good. So far, so good, man, to everybody. Thank you for all the kind words in the chat. It clearly doesn't matter if we have winners or losers on. All of you guys just want to learn, and that is fantastic. We're here for learning, and as you can clearly see, we're here for putting on some winning trades as well, which don't always work out, but when they do. And again, for the TQs, I even said on this trade that we were giving this to 81.50. So for this trade, we gave this trade 22 cents of upside to make at the lows $1 right there, right? And so that started to really print out well for us. Unfortunately, it barcoded here around 80.70, so we do have a lot of outs right there. But right up to P&L number 2 on the day is the futures trade pending on Tesla, Dara.
I'm going to go over here the hours for some of these futures trading. And I've seen a couple different numbers. CME Group, which actually does futures, they all seem to basically have the futures closing at 8:30 a.m. tomorrow. Now, I wasn't able to find any info as to when the futures open for Friday. From what I assume, it's usually, I think we open around 8 p.m. the night before. That's usually what happens on weekends. So because I couldn't find any information in this, I would assume it's the same, but I'm still looking into that. However, though, in terms of if you're looking for trading futures, heading into tomorrow, they are going to close, it looks like, at 8:30 a.m. So that's from what I've been able to see here. The VIX also will be closing. For some reason, this is in Greenwich Mean Time, 2:30 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, which based on my calculations seems to mean that it will be closing at 7:30 a.m. Eastern, and then it will open back again here. So this is, again, VIX trading. Will be opening back again at 9 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, which would be 4 p.m. Eastern. So the VIX is going to basically be closed for what generally would be our market hours, and then I guess open again after that point. Chicago soft commodities as well will be having a bit of different closures. The markets that are remaining open seem to only be Forex trading, metals and commodities, and also cocoa, coffee, and sugar trading out of New York. So again, to clarify, some of this commodities, specifically in the metals and energy space, will remain open, as will Forex. The futures will have limited hours, and the VIX will basically not be trading during normal market hours, but open other than that, guys. Back to you.
I would just say, like, even with the futures open in the morning, it's going to be a very different environment. Like, I wouldn't suggest anybody, unless you have strategies for that time, you've done it before, liquidity around the day is probably going to be ridiculously low. At least that's what I would expect any kind of a holiday. So there was a question in the chat. Where's the stop and halt? Don't mind repeating it. So let me just redraw here. And I always think it's a good question. Sometimes we talk a little bit too fast. I know I'm guilty of it a few times. So there was a trend down. It then trended back up. You had a break of the prior high. So I go long in here. And then the prior bar bottom, well, it's actually this one on trend, is 243. So that's where the out is going to be. And then we play into the high of the day. So that's the idea for Hoth. We're still in NVIDIA. I did have eyeballs on, and I did see this. It was Bonkzilla, let MSTR rally, MicroStrategy that is. I would say this one's starting to go a little bit sideways. And for everybody looking at it, it is a pretty short-term bullish setup on MSTR, because that looks a heck of a lot like a liquidity grab. Let me just zoom it out for you guys. Looks a heck of a lot like a liquidity grab that tries to hold on to like a prior high. If we were open tomorrow, I'd say, hey, tomorrow, if you hold on to this and break out that, then you have a bit of a gap fill. But we're not. The downside for every single crypto name is, well, they're not open tomorrow, but Bitcoin is. So nothing like this setup and whatever it looks like technically is going to be pretty meaningless when we come in on Friday morning, because you will have had Bitcoin trade around for 24 hours and you couldn't do anything with your MSTR or your MAR or anything like that. So you got to be a little bit careful if you're swinging any of those. I've never really paid attention too much to what these look like in terms of liquidity going into some kind of a holiday event, but it's considered like a weekend, I think, here. So I wouldn't be I'd be careful looking for any swing trades in MSTR, Mara, Riot, or anything related to the crypto names. So good luck. I think it's worth maybe a trade. I just saw this topping tail candle in NVIDIA, so on trend down, added with the break-even stop, moving from up here. So it came down to 140, did a topping tail candle, add a consolidation, and go with the lower high stop. I feel like if it gets into VWAP, I want that to be a separate trade. So if it's going to trend down from here, great, but if it moves into VWAP, I don't want to be holding the short all the way into a test of 141. I want to be able to put on a different trade on a trend reversion at the 141 level here on NVIDIA. So hopefully that makes sense on NVDA, the newest position. It's actually red to green at this price level. That 140 just keeps on going back and forth off this level.
All right, guys. Super chat, Kerr. What's up, Tisha? All right, so someone that's asked me, what do I think about Roblox? I mean, you guys, those of you that watch the show, you know, we bought Roblox in the spring for the run up into the summer, and that has just continued. So we got the majority of it out. I'd have to go back and look to see how much we have. Generally, I'll keep like 20%, maybe 15% of the trade, but we had bought in some Roblox in here, in and around the $34, $35 level. We talked about that. Maybe even we have some down here. At this point, I can't remember the average price, but we bought it into the summer because, again, my kid's just sitting at home playing Roblox, even now. Shout out to Dress to Impress, Squid Game, all that stuff on Roblox. But at the end of the day, it came up. We had seen this 48 a couple times, so we wound up getting out. I remember we got some out at 43, 44 in this area because that was the top. Then we saw this, and we were like, oh God, that was a nice move. This is in September, so they're back at school. So we basically were dumping our shares, able to get it out. We didn't sell anything under $40, so we didn't absorb anything into there. That's 40, so that makes sense. We didn't sell anything under it. Does that make sense? And then now to the upside. Now that I look at this, yeah, it's probably, I mean, if you just look, whoosh there, whoosh there, whoosh there, whoosh there, a little bit of a whoosh here. So we still got some more to go. Then the next move down probably gets us into 60. I think if you break below $60, then you can get out of Roblox, and that could happen tomorrow. So I think that, you know, there's been a lot of stock that's up near the highs, and I just think that Roblox is just one of those names again where you got to be careful with it. It's up pretty good on the year, you know, 40 to 60, not bad, 50%, good name. I still see a lot of tailwinds, man, for Roblox. I especially with the Oculus and with some of that stuff, I think Roblox is the thing. And
I can now start to see why as well.
Yep, exactly. I really like the stock, and you can code, like, my kids get paid on Roblox because they code games and people play them. So they get some Robux from that. Obviously, they've been draining my account for 3 or 4 years, every month getting Robux dropped into there. But you know what? You know what's helping us pay for some Robux right now are the trades that we currently have on. Roblox, I mean, they can have Roblox for the rest of their life because of those. Same thing with Starbucks. It's like, we made money on Starbucks, so now every time we drink one of those cortados, it kind of feels a little bit better. But there it is right now, 396 coming in, 350 now in the money as, again, this is the stock, right? Neil's on NVIDIA and Mara. We've got 350 right now on Tesla. So let's see if this continues to bleed down. The futures are, I mean, we're underneath the 50, underneath VWAP. Like I feel like it wants to test something here. So, and if it does, oh boy. I mean, Neil, we have 4 positions on right now. AMD, $1.50 in the money. Oklo, $1 in the money. The futures, 100 handles and or $1.05 in the money. Tesla, $3. So that's 3, 4, 5, 650. right now in the money. So it's been obviously a pretty decent day as we sit here and hold out for maybe even a little bit lower. We only have, although we're 650 in the money, even though we only have 10 to 15% of every position, except for AMD, we have less. Still, that's where holding gives you sort of that next leg of an advantage, because even 10 or 15% of a position is still a decent amount for these bigger moves. And again, a shout out to Adam DeLuz and to all the people that continue, Sebastian, Jay Lee, Daryl out there as well, Flinch.
Daryl in the chat.
Yeah, exactly.
We had
everybody that supports this style of.
We had Jarhead after a while. It's good to see Jarhead back with us. And shout out to Jarhead. I didn't see you today, but I definitely saw him there yesterday. And we've had a lot of fantastic viewers over the years, and we appreciate all the contributions that everyone gives to us. There was a question, and I like this. It was Tisha. Look, this Kerr stock, just in 1 second, I'll get to that Kerr. It's a couple of times now, and we haven't gone over it. But two things. One, because I was asked about NVIDIA, does it not look like an inverse head and shoulders? I don't disagree with it. But that's one of the reasons. You're at an inflection point on NVIDIA, right? Like the 140 is the 50 period. It's a closing price. So when it did that reversion, I wanted to tighten it up. It bounces off of the 140 level. Add here, tighten stop. So tighten the stop up, because I don't want that curl. If it doesn't follow through big, I want to have the loser be small. And again, everyone's style is going to be different. Like, I want to try to make sure I don't have any headshots in there. And if it trends down, fine, I can start scalping out of it and continue to do that. But just tighten up that stop there on NVIDIA. So for Kerr, it is back in and above VWAP. And the volume is still pretty bad on this. Like, it's very, very low. You can see what happened on the way up, and you can see how it completely died down in the afternoon. I want to see the volume start to trend. A lot of times in the afternoon, when you look at these things and you're like, it's above VWAP, it's looking very good. But I want to see continuation. Like, volume, hold higher, hold higher, hold higher. If that happens and you make some higher lows, I'll be a big fan of it. Is it going to work every single time? No. And I would grant to you, it's not going to work every single time. Like so we'll look at Hoth, right? Hoth had that increasing volume that I was looking for. It had the higher low. We took our shot in the consolidation. It stopped out pretty much exactly where it said it would. And that's one of those things. I want you guys to yell at me, Neil, you put a stop in here and you didn't take your stop. I'll always do that. It's a very simple setup. I want to take that trade in this way, and if it bounces off VWAP and goes, fair enough. Because the other side of that trade is to look at something like, and I'm just going to use Fubo even though it's dead as an example. Like, when one of these, I want it to look like this. When a tight stop works, then that's what the trade looks like. When it doesn't work, then what you see on Hoth, that's what I want it to look like. And for everyone's style, it's going to be different. I think that's doubly true for myself when trading these small caps. If I look at it, the ones that work the best are where I get in and it just kind of starts working right away, and I don't have to hold it against me. I think you can run into a little bit of trouble. Like, if you get along here, it's kind of obvious because it's parabolic on news. But when you're playing these retracement trades, like if you look at Hoth, like look at it the day before, that trend down. Now, obviously, if you bought it at VWAP yesterday on the way down and held it to the close, or at least into the afternoon, that's $2.50, that's $3. Great. But you carried that against you 50 cents as well. And you got to consider that. So I'm always looking for the entry point that's something along the lines of here or there where you can have that tight stop. So I hope that makes a little bit of sense. As I said, we tightened up the stop on NVIDIA. We're still in the reload of Mara off the highs. We scalped it once into VWAP, and we'll try to get some underneath if we end up breaking down. But I do have to keep that eye on Bitcoin. The issue with trading Mara, if you're trading Tesla, if you're trading NVIDIA, if you're trading, pretty much any of those big cap tech names, the first thing you're looking at is, hey, what are the futures doing, or maybe what is the ETF doing? When you're trading Mara or MSTR, you got to watch out for BTC. So while we're still trending down, I got to respect the fact that you're not really moving anywhere. Like, you're going sideways on IBIT. So you don't want to be caught in a situation where this goes sideways forever. I can't expect there to be a big move in the Mara unless this continues to trend down. So we're in the Mara, but I need this to start breaking down because we're in a power hour, and if Bitcoin doesn't move, then obviously Mara is not going to be the one. Let's go to the desk with Adara.
Just be aware here, we did just get in the consumer credit number here, negative $7.489 billion versus the forecast here of positive $10.5 billion and the previous of positive $19.24 billion. Bit of a move on this in the market. I just wanted to let you guys know because this is a number that has moved things in the past. Just to clarify, lower than expected consumer credit print here on the, I guess, for the market, guys. Back to you, like and subscribe.
Yeah, that's weird. It's the source I look at didn't have the number out yet. Thank you, investing.com. It's kind of weird, but thank you very much, Adara. Just trying to refresh that page. I think my internet's probably just a little bit slow. That's
it's not on Benzinga either.
Yeah, it's. I didn't hear it either. Thank you very much, Adara. The consumer credit number we've seen it move the market before, but you're not really getting a heck of a lot. So you always want to make sure if a number's coming out, be wary of it. I saw a few people in the chat that were mentioning that it was going to be coming out there, but it doesn't look like it's moving anything just yet. Apple, I just load. Thank you very much. Apple just broke above VWAP, so we'll have to take a quick look here. I can't believe this Apple. I haven't really traded Apple, and I'm going to ask myself like why I don't like Apple when this support line has been very good to go off of at 241.5. So like it's out, and if I keep waiting for it to get down to 238 in the 50 period, and then Apple keeps catching a bid out and about in front of it. So I think tomorrow, obviously not tomorrow, on Friday, and maybe even this afternoon, if we continue to have reversions off of this 241.5, instead of just writing on the iPad 238, I'm going to start looking at this 241 and 241.5 on Apple. It's a red to green story. It's a holiday tomorrow, so I think you might get a little bit of choppy action in the final hour of the day. It's not a guarantee. This is kind of a different scenario. I don't remember what happened last time for Bush Sr., but I'm going to guess you're going to have a little. It was like 5-6 years ago.
2018 or so. 20.
I actually, at the time when they announced this holiday, I didn't remember actually that they had done this as a regular thing. But I would expect you might have a little bit less volatility, maybe a little bit lighter on the imbalance locator as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't. For this example, the reason why I kind of chuckled there was because, like, for this example, I wouldn't. Like, what happened? The market right now is like if the futures are open, they could just do. Like, I don't know what the situation of the market was back then, but just the fact that like we have that coming on Friday with the jobs, like I just really feel like trading tomorrow it'd probably be very, again, futures, forex, anything like that, probably just kind of going back and forth until we get some definitive. Reasons to move because right now today, and I went and got a tea. I was like, when I went swimming, I got like a little bit of a headache, so I feel like just trying to battle that. I got some ibuprofen over here, so I'm just going to take a nap.
Well, you hydrate pretty well. So, no, the first thing I think of is, the first thing you think of is like, well, if you're working out in the middle of the day, sitting talking all day, are you hydrating properly?
Oh yeah, that's for sure. I mean, the weather's fine. Normally, if it's a low cloud,
the weather's fine. Oh no. The weather's not fine. It's freezing cold outside.
Oh, it's freezing cold, but it's gorgeous. It is gorgeous outside. That's for sure.
Let's get to Adara to handle some business.
Okay.
This part of the show is brought to you by Prop Firm Match. Are you feeling overwhelmed trying to find the perfect prop firm? With so many options out there, it's easy to get lost. And that's where Prop Firm Match comes in. Prop Firm Match is the ultimate platform to help you identify and compare reliable prop firms tailored to your trading strategy, trading style, and goals. Whether you're after low fees, high profit splits, or quick funding evaluations, we've got you covered. Say goodbye to hours of research and confusion because Prop Firm Match makes it simple to find your perfect prop firm. Scan that QR code or visit propfirmmatch.com today and take the guesswork out of finding the perfect prop firm. Back to you.
Yeah. That's a great business model.
Yeah, scan that QR code there.
Yeah, I like
Prop
that.
Firm Match.
We were just saying how good of an idea that is.
It's a great idea, actually.
Yeah, because of the fact that like you can go in there and find where the best deals are.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Well, it's like the equivalent. What I was.
With that.
This is maybe not obviously gamble's not the best analogy, but it kind of works in a sense. And if you listen to fantasy sport radio, which I tend to every now and then because I like sports, you'll hear usually what they'll say is, if you're going to be online betting, let's just say in sports, you should probably make sure that the bet you're placing, you're getting the best odds on.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like if you're playing whatever, like the over-unders is your game. Well, then if DraftKings has the better odds for you, then you should take that. And you should scan. It's like anything else, man. If you're not shopping for the best price, then I don't know. Like I like a good deal, and I get principle is priceless. So just leave it at that. Sometimes my wife considers me a little bit cheap, but I just kind of believe that if you're not looking for the best price, then you're the sucker, as far as I'm concerned. I think it's a great idea, and I do absolutely like it there. A couple of things in here. What is Hoth doing? Probably a good idea that we got out of that. That one just turned ice cold on the planet of Hoth, as it's right back into VWAP. And that's the thing. Like, it's okay to take a shot, but as we were talking about, like, either it works right away and goes based on your thesis, you've got to be able to jump out of it. It's all the way at VWAP. If you like it at VWAP, take it at VWAP. But I don't like it off of these lower lows and lower highs. Like, I want something a little bit more trendy. Okay, like you had a reversion on NVIDIA. Now it's really going sideways here in NVIDIA. Mara, kind of the same thing. They're just working that next leg and seeing if it can fall to the downside. So I'm kind of looking over to see what else might be moving. I don't have anything popping off on any scanners. My Holt scanner is just that IMG stock, which for anyone out there, I think that's a very, very dangerous one to try to trade. And it's about to break $1 again. Like this one halted a few times. Yeah, you can't. $1 stock, 2 or 3 cent spread every now and then. That's not tradable. I know it's done 39 million shares worth of volume, but your slippage, if it breaks a level, is going to be way too big. So this one does feel like it's a bit of a waste of time. The chart can look good, but liquidity is going to end up mattering.
I mean, you know, to be honest with everybody, I'm not really doing a whole heck of a lot. I mean, we just take out the TQQs there at VWAP. So, I mean, that's a props up if anybody's holding the short. You kind of know that we're in that already. We're in the TQs. Tesla Neil just keeps on getting better and better, down to 395 and change. I mean, this is going lower right now. I'm bidding 395.66. That Oklo is also doing fine, still around that $26. I'm going to take a piece. I'm going to cancel that 395.60 area and just put a bid now at 396. That's a good trade, man. We're short. That's $4 right now on Tesla. I mean, we should take it if it's going to give it to us, and it just did, and we didn't take it. So that time we will take it. That's a hot dog cannon right there for you. So that's $4. We'll wait to see if that can come in even more on that one. There's Oklo. So what else you guys want to talk about? I mean, yeah, so you're talking about NVIDIA. Neil's on that one. I'm clearly seeing that.
Hoth again.
Maybe Hoth. Yeah, PLT. I don't want to keep on with the same names.
There was a question about the moving averages on the charts. It's a good question because everyone has their own indicators on the charts. ZL, does anyone know whether the moving averages on our charts are EMA or SMA? I only use simple moving averages. So on my charts, it's always a simple. I'm pretty sure it's the same for you. So Sean also uses a simple. I'm not entirely sure about Joe and Sharif. So we'll ask them. You just ask them because it is important. Like if I have, like I'll show you. I have on this chart, like I'll draw trend lines, but I've got VWAP, the volume weighted average price. Although, see, this is an issue with that MAR chart. So like this one's missing data. It happens every now and then. I have MAR up on my black chart, which is fine. So I'll use that VWAP for myself. I have VWAP and volume. And then on the daily charts, that's where I'll have the 50 and the 200 simple, generally speaking. I might throw something else up in a moment if I want to have a look at it, but those are the staples on my charts. And it's just whatever works for you. Like I kind of started with simple moving averages and never really went away to anything else. I understand why some momentum traders prefer the exponential, and there's logical reasons why it makes sense. It's just I've never really used it.
Yep. Yeah, great question. So I'm glad that you found that there in the chat. Thank you guys for asking that. And yeah, simple moving averages. I mean, if you're asking about mine, like for a 1 minute chart, you can change EMA and SMA. It's not going to make any difference, I don't think, anyways. So for that one, again, great question, but yeah, not that much of a game changer there on a 1 minute chart. But I use the same for all of them. So SMAs, EMAs, every MA type of business. So, all right, so that's what we're doing right there on that one. Great question, and thank you for that question. That's the number one thing, right? There is no such thing as a bad question, especially, we're not trying to kill time here or anything like that. It's just
actually,
my position.
Can I expand on that? Because Rogelio just asked in the chat, I just didn't even see it. Oh, there it is, Rogelio. What's the difference between simple and exponential? Simple moving average, any simple moving average takes every single data point as even, right? So if you come to my chart for a second, I was asked about Rivian, so I have a Rivian chart up. It doesn't really matter. The 50 period, which is the teal, just takes the last 50 bars on the daily chart and then gives you your data point for the average. And the 200, all of them are weighted the same. The exponential gives more weight to the more recent data. So what will end up happening, obviously, is your exponential moving average is going to more closely follow explosive stocks. Like I would see the argument if you're looking at, let's just say, a quantum stock, why you might want to look at an exponential on an intraday basis. On the daily chart, I've just always used the simple, because on the daily, that's what I know a lot of higher time frame traders look at. I just heard Unity making a move in my ear, so I pulled up Unity. I didn't hear any news. I just heard Unity is spiking. So Unity just broke through the highs. Not really sure what's going on with it, but I don't know, someone just yelled out, but a little bit of a rounded bottom here on Unity. Maybe we'll get a news story in just a second, but Unity just went red to green. This is the name that Roaring Kitty, I guess everyone speculated Roaring Kitty was going to be interested in making some moves on, and obviously it's done absolutely nothing. I think January 9th was a big deal as well, which is tomorrow, but could just be related to that, bouncing off to 50, but I'm seeing no story. Let's just go back to what we're looking at here. Yeah, if there's no news story, then there's no there. So finally trying to break down off 139.80. We started this one at 50, and then we added back just above the 140 level, and we'll see if it gets down into the 139.5, which is next support there on NVIDIA, and then Mara, which we're also sitting in, just tagged VWAP and is trying to break through. We'll scalp the inside range and then hold through if it wants to break lower on MARA. But yeah, if we hear something on Unity, my guess is it was probably just a technical break.
Oh, man. Yeah, so welcome to the jungle, man. We got fun and games. Like, this is now $5 on Tesla. It's just breaking through VWAP. We said we were going to try to hold on to this. What's up, my Italian friend, Joe? He's not Italian, by the way. All right, so huge move to the downside right now. We're still saying net short, like over 100 handles now, 130 handles in the money on the NASDAQ. As we have one trade on that one, man. The assassin just clipped that one. That reminds me of a rune right there on the futures, like high a day like that. Okay, about the futures not being the number one stock anymore. There goes the futures, nice move to the downside, and there goes Tesla as well, man. This has been quite the afternoon. Just holding on to all these shorts. Remember last time we were 650 in the money? Try 850 in the money right now. And I just was that when I was talking with Joe and Obi, getting some tea in there. So shout out to everybody that's short. I know it's been a little bit of a tough go to get these positions, but again, just being patient, and we said using less shares, waiting for bigger moves. That's the strategy there today, and oh boy, is it paying off here this afternoon, Adara.
So I did look into this Unity move, and interestingly enough, Roaring Kitty has not posted anything. So I went on X, because that's usually where you go if you're trying to find out moves on things like this or GME, once I realized there wasn't any actual catalyst. And it turns out people think that this volume candle was Roaring Kitty buying. Now, that is not, if it is so, we don't have any, again, we have no evidence of this. This seems to be continuing to run on pure speculation that this initial volume spike is related to Roaring Kitty. But there's already been a lot of excitement about this name because of his post that did suggest he was getting involved. There are people saying that they called this move from yesterday, they've loaded into options. So I would say it's just ongoing, intense bullish sentiment on the hopes that Roaring Kitty is involved, because I would like to clarify there is zero evidence that Roaring Kitty is in fact involved in this name. So you just looks like intensifying Roaring Kitty related bullishness, guys. Back to you.
Yeah, I have a second. It's related to that, but I have a secondary theory. When he made that time tweet, it had this 109 in it. So remember, like everyone's trying to decipher like what this cryptid thing meant, and that year or whatever, like that, that whatever that year was, they had you was the person of the year, meaning the reader or the viewer. So yeah, 1-9 being January 9th. So I guess people are thinking that any move up, and he was intending on making an announcement or buying it going into the 9th, and obviously he can't buy it tomorrow because the market's going to be closed. So that would be my guess if I had to make one there on Unity, but I wouldn't chase it. I'm not chasing that move whatsoever. Like, Roaring Kitty is a catalyst. I can tell you that last year, I think it was. Yeah, like one of my worst days trading momentum was literally that day. An unwillingness to go short on GameStop or Chewy that day.
Yeah.
It was kind of an obvious short if you're looking back in hindsight, but it was that desire to be bullish. And unfortunately, Roaring Kitty kind of moked us all that day.
Yeah, I mean, that's why, honestly, you can see here where, although sometimes you would think, like, what is this guy doing? We're choosing to trade, obviously, based on support and resistance, not based on thinking about tweets. But at the same time, great trade. Like, if anybody was thinking, and that's why I said, like, hindsight, this is why I really, am proud of the stuff that we're doing here. Like, the trading that we have on is not hindsight trading at all. Thinking about and saying, tomorrow's 109. Well, if we had thought about that, then the people that were long yesterday or into this area, I don't know what that, I mean, honestly, this guy coming in and buying, like maybe. We already know that Roaring Kitty's a millionaire. I think it was 30 times over. I think when he did that tweet there, he was showing that he had 30 sheets in the bank.
And he was in the money implicitly.
So, like, whatever. He's like, oh, should I execute? So, I mean, at the same time, look, the guy's obviously made some great calls and is a fantastic sort of manipulator of stock at this point. But that call that he made was pretty classic and a great one there. So congratulations to anybody that made GameStop money at the first time around. But just be careful because things aren't always alike, I mean, you could see that even in trading. Like, here's the TQs. We're just starting to get out of everything right now as we look around and assess what this day has brought us. It's 3:17. Make sure you do join us tomorrow. Hey, man, hit the like and the subscribe. Honestly, all of these trades, I'm getting out of them all right now as we speak. Like, I'll show you some more fills. Whoa, I didn't mean to maximize that. That's bad. What I want to show you right there. Oh, all right, I'm going to have to refresh this. But over 5,100, that's not bad. Watching right now, I'd like to get a little more than that. Let me see how many likes we got. 509 likes, guys. Hit the like button. I mean, for those of you like Daryl, like myself, like some of you others there in the chat that have made money this afternoon in a significant amount, hit the like button. I mean, we like to hear your ideas, and I think you like to hear, we like to hear yours, you like to hear ours. So hit the like button, keep coming back over and over again, over 5,100 watching. We'll see if we can get this into 1,000. That would be really nice and well appreciated. And make sure you share it and everything with Trader TV Live. So once again, man, you've now found the best station. Our views right now are just keep on getting higher and higher. So we want to thank everybody for that. I think part of it is we're trading the right names. You guys are liking that. You're following us over there on Twitter. You're seeing that we're trading some silos and putting some bangers on. You see we're trading the NASDAQ. You see we're trading some Mara and some NVIDIA. So it's like it's names that you like, it's names you're interested in, and we're all over those, including Oklo. I mean, this is a decent winner as well. Oh, we just covered some more of Oklo, by the way. It tried to go back through that 200 period, so we did cover some again. Highs, perfect. Great execution up on that side of things. Tesla. All right. Tesla, we're still doing the math. I think we have under 10% left, but it's probably around 10% left of this position as well. We just got a big trade ahead of VWAP and at VWAP. And then for the TQQs, man, we have under 3% left. So I'm almost out of all of this. I'm just sitting back. I can't get the smile off my face. It's been a great afternoon of trade, and I just want to thank everybody for coming back and believing in us and following our trades. And if you have any questions about stocks we're up on, stocks we're down on, how our day is going, anything like that, put it in the chat. We have no problem answering it. So let's just keep on going, man. Quantum is getting faded today. I haven't gone in and bought anything in my own account.
D-Wave made a much bigger move up than I realized.
D-Wade?
D-Wave.
Oh, D-Wave.
That
Dwayne Wade.
The statue. The second you said Dwayne Wade, the picture of the statue just...
it's like us trading and not knowing how to put on any winners. Who in the hell is employing these guys to make these statues?
The problem is, when you commission an artist, you just kind of get what you get from them. So if they screw up...
No, man, that's where you open it up and be like, no, this is really bad.
It's so bad.
This is insulting Ronaldo.
Yeah, but someone paid hundreds of thousands of dollars whose job, so they have to be like, no, it's good. So someone's job is on the line, so they just kind of stick with it and lean into it because they're the one that.
And then probably they got fired at the end of it all, anyways.
Probably. Actually, so I was gonna say the quantum names, they're bleeding, but I actually did not look back at qubits or D-Wave until just now. I know it's down 38%, but how's that for a recovery on Q? It actually got up to 680, above the opening range, and is going to close above VWAP right now. So I'd say distinctly different from the rest. That seems like a heck of a buying. Yeah, it's kind of weird because why would I? Oh yeah, I remember why I didn't revert into this one. So candidly, this obviously looks like a trend reversal, which you know that's a setup I like. Like there's your bottoming tail. I had just reloaded it for the third time, and then there's the trail out. A lot of times I'd go into a long, but I do remember at that time the tape on this, and then it was like Rigetti and Ion Q. I had them all up, and it was like, ugh, it just didn't feel right. Whether that's like a shakeout, like these stocks were bleeding this morning, but you can always look back in hindsight and say, well, Neil, that's a trend reverse. Why didn't you take it? At the time, tape didn't look good, so I didn't have it, and that ended up being like, look at that thing, fantastic. My wife's in a piece of this, believe it or not, so I'm kind of happy for her, but thankfully she took profit, so was riding with house money. She bought it at like $1 something. Fortunately, so we got pretty fortunate there. Unity, I'll keep it up. We have like 30 minutes to go to the imbalances. It's somehow holding a bid and continuing higher. While I might not believe in the story or whatever it might be, the bid is still catching here. It's only 1.5%. I will say that I have moved the trailing stop again because you've now closed above this VWAP trend. So now if you break 140.10, which is break even on the ad, then I'll jump out of the trade and wait for a push into VWAP, which is especially good at 350. If NVIDIA pushes into VWAP, then you get possibly like a reversion trade at 350 or 355 when the imbalances come out or the imbalances flip. So if it gets there, I want to be out and looking for another shot off of VWAP, and if it doesn't get there, then we don't have to trade it.
All right, we almost got filled there. I put a bid, there it is. I'm not going to hit the things anymore. All right, so that's $4. We just took another $4.50 there. Not another $4.50, the same trade. I'm trying to piece it out. Neil just made a very good point, and that was the imbalances, right? And it's like we saw that. Yesterday we put on a clinic on those imbalances. We didn't take it, but we talked about it a couple days ago. We had a great trade on NVIDIA onto the close as we waited for those imbalances and then reacted on them. You guys have seen me take. I'm just trying to show sort of the breadth of trading abilities, not just of myself, but of opportunities that are there, right? We traded that Silo today, which was a monster trade. This is the best part about being at a prop firm. Now we trade Tesla, a $400 name. I can put on hundreds of shares on this name, hundreds of shares of Silo, a $2 name, if you so be it, thousands of shares, if you so be it. And then trading Oklo as well, as you can see, AMD, the futures. I mean, the futures, like, you know, just the ability to go back and forth in all different kinds of styles. And then you've also seen me trade, of course, at the close, which we've just talked about that, and some of the money that we've been able to make on some of those reverse imbalances, including, I don't know if Neil's had one, but we've had Palantir, we had New Holdings, we've had NVIDIA a couple times. I think we had Apple not too long ago as well. But, you know, a lot of them, you know, like the New Holdings and the Palantir were on event days, right? If we come big today with some of these imbalances, and we can have a quick little look at them right now just to see. So ATUS, I have no idea what that is. There's a buy on that right now. This XTIA is, what was that? Wow. I remember when we said, watch out for this at 25 cents. Jeez, man, wow. Now that's down to 5 cents. I'm so glad that we reviewed that. I remember we got multiple super chats about XTIA, and I was like, watch out now. But there it goes anyways to the downside. So if these come millions of shares in big cap tech names, then we will look to play the reversion at 355. So I think everything's working fine in my ear. I did hear you can retest it if there is a call for Adara. I can see if ooh, there we go. No, last time I was not. Most of the time I'm hallucinating because, look, you can't have these kind of trades with being sane of mind. I mean, that's why I host the show, you know. I put on these big bangers because I'm loco. Neil sits there and makes sense with his trades because he's smart. But at the end of the day, you know, we see the end results. It works out for everybody, and working out on...
You gotta have your style, that's all.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And
Ramin's style is to always heckle. With love.
Yeah. Well, she heckles her guy over there, Sharif. And if someone used baby talk to my name all the time too, I would be heckling as well.
Stop it.
There it is.
Get some help.
Yeah. Like, maybe I should start calling you Nini or something like that. All right. Good trade there, Nini. Let's go over to Dare on the desk.
I was going to say what castle.
We have Alarity. I don't really know how to respond to that story. We have Alarity on watch here. This is a small cap, ALLR. This one has rallied in the past. I recognize the ticker immediately. Basically, from what I'm seeing here, there is something I guess circulating here on social media that they've received a European patent. This does look to be a legitimate patent, but I've only seen it circulated on Twitter. I've not seen it confirmed here on Benzinga, so fair warning. But this does appear to be a legitimate patent. I've seen images of the patent circulating on social media. Basically, Alarity here apparently having received a patent for methods for predicting drug responsiveness in cancer patients. So basically trying to determine how patients will respond to certain cancer treatments. ALLR, regardless, again, frequent runner. And we really have to talk here about the float and the short float because it's significant. We have a short float of just under 10% on a float of 1.4 million shares. Again, lots of social media hype too around ALLR. Really quickly before we throw back, Bloomberg reporting that Elon Musk and Tesla have officially filed to appeal the decision that the Delaware court made last year to block his 218 compensation package valued at $56 million. So the case will now be added to the Supreme Court. So keep an eye, I guess, on Elon Musk and Tesla related stuff as we apparently get that Supreme Court hearing with regards to his $58 billion payment package, guys. Back to you.
That's a lot of payment packages.
That's a little scratch.
That's a little something,
Just
something
a
right
little
there.
bit.
I think he eventually gets it, but I mean, remember you have new administration coming in.
Yeah, I'm one of those.
I think it can change some opinions.
Rules are rules, people. Like, you don't change the rules of the game after the fact just because you don't like the outcome. You know, that's one of the reasons why everyone doesn't like the Kansas City Chiefs, right? Like, everyone wants things to be fair. But, I don't want to get political.
It is not fair. They have the players they have,
Well, look, they have a fantastic team, but
you don't win almost 3 Super Bowls. I mean, you guys obviously lost 4 in a row, but they're about to win 3 in a row. I don't know if they're going to win.
They've had some ref help. I would posit.
Everybody has ref.
That said, like the Buffalo Bills, when the Buffalo Bills lost 4 Super Bowls in a row, you can't blame the refs. The only thing I will say is the Dallas Cowboys, who I strongly dislike, were an unbelievable team that were better than the Bills.
Yeah,
I can admit to that, but I've always I look back when I was a kid. The Bills were better than Washington. They were better than the Giants. You get disappointed when your team is supposed to win and they're really good. I think if they're overmatched and they put up a fight and they lose, no problem. When you're supposed to win,
that's all sports are. It's just expectations.
Yeah, it's all about.
It's like it'll be a horrible year for the Bills if they don't win the Super Bowl.
I would 100% agree.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's why it's like
100% agree. This is our chance. Like,
yeah. It's like unfortunately the Packers. We just lost Christian Watson, tore his ACL. Oh, man. So I don't know if it's our year. We're the youngest.
Well, if Love is healthy, you got a shot.
And Jalen Hurts is not healthy.
Well, that's huge.
Apparently. So we'll see.
Oh, this is good. Kyle W., will you stock up on comfort food to help you Sunday night? Asking for a friend. The game's at 1 o'clock. I've got my ketchup chips. I've got my... Oh, I don't have Innocent Gun.
Oh.
All right, I have to go get some Innocent Gun. That's like my playoff beer of choice. And then...
Good one.
I have a bit of a tradition. When the Bills win a playoff game, I always go for. That's when I drink Blue Label.
Like the confidence?
I always like to have a little bit of fun. That ALLR that Darryl was just mentioning, actually increasing in volume here as we speak. Yeah, like it's still going up, still looking relatively strong. And I did hear in the chat, like one of the reasons why QBTS D-Wave was up is their CEO was actually on air refuting a lot of what Jensen Huang was saying. And so that's QBTS, essentially saying they were already solving some issues and some positivity with one of their clients, and that's MasterCard. So,
I mean, that was someone in the chat saying that. If
he did, fair enough. I didn't see it. That's why I put a reference. Someone in the chat mentioned it.
Exactly.
That could explain why QBTS had a bigger bounce up than, say, Rigetti or IonQ, which IonQ, to its credit, if you read Shkreli and his note this morning, is like the only one that he actually thought was worth something. Like he said the intrinsic value was like $11 on this. The other ones, he was like, it's 1 cent. which is another way of saying it's worth nothing. But when they don't make any money yet, that's an easy thing to say.
And I want everyone to remember who Martin Shkreli is, convicted criminal. Yeah. I mean, the guy really abused the healthcare system and charging of, like, I'm not taking this guy's opinion really worth anything.
He's very smart when it comes to assessing a balance sheet. However,
he's predicted.
Here's where I actually care about his opinion more.
Yeah.
It's specifically when he knows how to break down like a phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 studies specifically, and like he really knows how to break down. He's really good at figuring out the addressable market for drugs and the upside of companies within biopharma. Like I understand like it's history, but he really knows his stuff with that. So if I'm trading a biopharma stock in a morning, a lot of times I'll look if he has an opinion on it, just to get someone to read to me in English and explain to me what that study means. Because I read a press release like everybody else. When I see a biopharma one, I have no idea what it's saying. And so to have someone that you can go to kind of give you the nuts and bolts of it, I think can help. So you might know the fundamentals. Ultimately, you might not care because it's just trading momentum. But yeah, it's good to know whether something
different ideas. I mean, people have different opinions on stock. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, we throw up the W's because Shkreli, they're the only person apparently ever to listen to the undisclosed Wu-Tang album. So he owns whatever that 6th album was or whatever it was there for Wu-Tang, and that's probably worth much more than whatever he paid for at this point. Okay, so yeah, it's 3:30. Like, it's been a really fun show, and I'm just getting a little bit exhausted because of the trades that we've had today and all of the trades. I'm like kind of done looking at charts right now. It's 3:30. I've just been peeling off of this. You know, the market has gone back up a little bit, but this is why I think it's important to understand the amount of shares, the share size, this and that, that we have left on these positions. And they're all like super, super low, bro. As we talked to some Pharma Bro there. We barely have any shares. The problem over there, Ram? What's super chat?
Yeah, it's okay. Long this. I got it up. I can read it here.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much, Long This, for the super chat. Ram it. If you know, I'll try to get through this. If you know how to ram it, just ram it. We know how to yada, yada, yada. I'm not going to read the whole thing. You guys can read it yourselves. I'm not going to make it through without kind of chuckling there. I'm trying. It's a lot of ram.
No, I don't mind. He only says ram once, which is fine. It's the ram.
Ram it.
It's the ram stuff.
Ram it. Oh, speaking of LA.
If you're going to pay $50, man, you can say ram as much as you
can. Yeah, you say as much as you want. Thank you. But look, Long This, obviously been a viewer on the show for a while. So we appreciate all of our viewers, not just if you send us super chats, and we do appreciate that. But, you know, as long as you're sharing, I think not just sharing the stream with your friends, but sharing ideas with the community. When we get questions, and sometimes we might miss it, I love when I see some of our viewers just answer the question for somebody else, right? Or someone else just confirmed that they saw the CEO of Qubits or D-Wave talking as well and sort of refuting some of those claims. Okay, so a few people did see it. I didn't watch the interview. Like when I say that my wife is in the stock, she was doing a cybersecurity course and had the opportunity to meet a lot of executives within the data security space, and that was the name they were talking about. She showed me the chart. I was like, I mean, I don't know anything about the stock, but it was the beginning of the year, last year, when it was like $1, and I was like, well, I mean, like its low was like 50 cents. I'm like, hey, you take a shot at it, and if you risk 50 cents, you never know. And then it just so happened this nonsense this took place. Well, my wife's in it by blind luck. So what else we got going on here? More ram it in the chat, so appreciate everybody. Unity has predictably is the wrong word. Whoops, UI, which is an actual stock, believe it or not. I love when you typo and then find out there's a symbol that exists under that. But Unity pulls right back into 23 even, never sustained volume. There was never a real catalyst outside of some speculation that maybe that was Roaring Kitty. And if he did buy, good luck to him. Somebody seems like they like to stock at $22, and it's been bouncing off 22 for a while, so maybe he's been accumulating it. I have no idea for that name, but it's a pretty significant level right now at 23 even, technically. I guess it's not a bad jump-off spot for Unity. I just can't think of any reason why you should get in. Alma Hamada, oh goodness, we're going to talk about this one tomorrow. When we do the stream tomorrow, we'll talk about ideas. I mentioned this to Sharif when he was asking about Moderna. Yeah, Moderna's chart looked nasty, and we'll get into it in a second. Instead of selling my mRNA shares yesterday, I sold a covered call on it. I closed it today, 43 support, LOL. Moderna's chart, LOL. Although, you know, if you're long in Moderna, you got to be a little bit careful. Moderna looked like it was on a breakout. I'm just going to try and pull it up here on a daily. We're on Unity right now. Moderna looked like it was starting the break of a trend. Like, there's your down move. It's one of the worst charts you can find. Look at the update it had breaking the 50-period moving average. This is about as nasty as it gets of a reversal. So the breakout of the 50-period, 10% move up, and then today, give it all back and close underneath yesterday's open where it broke out from. That's a little bit bearish. So it's just like you got all that excitement into it that, hey, Moderna, a stock is bottoming, which I can understand why people think that that's a good area to get in. You have so much room for it to run, but for it to close right back underneath that 50 period is about as nasty as it gets. So I'm kind of looking at Moderna to be a bit bearish going into the rest of this month. Let's just put it that way. As long as it closes where it is right now. If it ends up breaking back out, you know, anything can happen between now and Friday because there's a whole, you know, we got aftermarket tonight, then we got the overnight, and then of course we'll have Friday morning. Anything can happen on mRNA. But for now, that looks incredibly nasty, that reversal candle. What happened to the position?
Yeah, Oklo's still up here. I was thinking about just getting, I mean, it's 3:36, so we are moments away one more time from those imbalances. We're about 8 minutes away. I'm going to get something out of 93 if we can get it. Thank you so much for that super chat along this, and great content for sure. Make sure that we mention some of that to Sharif. He'll think that's funny. So again, thanks everybody for all your participation here today. It's been a good day, needless to say, here in the stock market. And again, that's the other thing about trading. You never know what your day is going to bring. You know, we base. Oh yeah, position board is down. Yeah, there you go. Ramin took the position board down because she was happy with the $50, but was looking for a little bit more. So we can get that back in just a minute.
Just always goes down at this time.
Just joking. We don't have anything to do with any super chat. I mean, that was very, very kind of you.
Yeah. That was cool.
So thank you so much for that super chat. We're just having fun here, killing some time.
Did you see the video of the donuts that Ramin was doing?
I did not. Oh, before.
Yeah,
same one, like couple. Yeah. He's done it last year, I think.
In the truck in the snow?
Yeah.
Okay, you see.
Yeah. Crazy times. Oh, Sharif brought up a good point there about the Waymo faltering.
No, just kidding.
About Waymo faltering, and that the Tesla full self-drive was faltering the other day. And I just want to say, like, that, I didn't want to interrupt Sharif when he's there, but he just has a hate on for Google. The thing is like, the guy's, Sharif is a self-declared fanboy of Tesla. All right, and yet he'll show the Tesla thing crashing, and that's okay. But the Waymo guy's going around in a circle, kind of having fun, and that's bad on Waymo. So I just want to say, like, as we get through some of this technology, there is going to be opportunities there, both sides of the trade. And I think it's like that one time somebody lit, and I'm not talking about the explosion that just happened on New Year's Day or whatever that day was, but someone I remember lit their Tesla on fire, and then basically was like, and then the stock went down, and turned out like the guy had puts on it or whatever.
Yeah.
He was just trying to like pretend like there was a problem with Teslas, you know? This guy could have done that to the Waymo thing as well. Like, I have no idea, but that was kind of fun and funny to do that.
It's weird he hates Google.
He doesn't hate Google. He hates the fact that he's not long.
Yeah,
okay, so the other thing is about this all is, anyways, I forget what I was going to say. Go ahead.
I was going to congratulations, but also thank you to 007 Kyle. So we got Kyle. We have 007 Kyle, new member for Trader TV Live. Welcome. Hope you're enjoying it. Catching stray Sharif. No, so the position board is back.
Ooh.
Another bounce. Look, the range is the range. So I got to quickly show you. Remember I said if IBIT doesn't do something, then like why expect Mara to break VWAP if IBIT, which is Bitcoin, obviously, if it's doing absolutely nothing? So there's the sideways action. So when we bounce off VWAP, then we just get out at VWAP. And if it wants to make the range again, maybe we'll take that trade. But with 340, not much time left. Shoot, I was just about to say something else. No, it was about Google and Tesla. It's like one of the cool things about Tesla is if you're a Tesla bull, one of the things you probably like about it is that it's not just an EV company.
Right.
It's that you've got full self-drive, you've got robotics coming in, you've got energy storage. There's so much that they do. So like, how could you then not like Alphabet? Because Alphabet, we already know, look, we know all about search and advertising. That's great. We know about data. You also know about AI. But what about quantum, where they're the actual only real, well, not only, but I guess IBM was one of them as well. They're a quantum play. They're a self-driving play. Like, it gives you that same bucket. Like, that's it's like the perfect kind of name in your portfolio. It gives you cross, what's the word I'm looking for? It gives you like one stock to own and you get multiple exposure to multiple growth strategies with Alphabet. That's why when Alphabet gets to reasonable valuations, you gobble it up. Gobble, 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 because you don't get that chance on Tesla. When you buy Tesla dips, you always have to grit your teeth and not look at the valuation and then benefit from it. But if Google breaks this little trend line, I'm 100% a buyer at the 200 period moving average. I'd have to check to see what the weighting is in my portfolio, whether I'd buy it at the 50 period, because I feel like I'm in a spot where I have more than enough of Google and not enough of Meta. So probably more discretionary or patient with Google and more aggressive with Meta on the next available dips. But I'd have to double check.
Yeah, and I think that no better of a time to discuss what tomorrow's all about. I mean, if you guys want to know why, he doesn't like Google, forget about us answering it for him. Just ask him tomorrow. I mean, join us tomorrow at 9 o'clock, where we'll all be here doing exactly that, going Q&A. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Bring your questions. We'll hopefully have some answers. We'll have some fun as well here tomorrow. So XXII.
20th century something. What's that called again?
See ya.
22nd.
I mean, this stock was only, $5, and now it goes all the way to the upside. There goes XIIIII. Aye, Captain. Let's go find out more about this name.
Oh my goodness.
Hold it now. So
this is worse than Mullen.
Look, the chart can't even show it up here. It's like all the way up there. I'm not even showing it. All right, the short float. No idea how this even makes any sense, but 110% short. I mean, I don't think there's options on this name. Maybe Joey options over there, but I like 110% short right there. So the float.
It just reverse splits. Maybe it's.
Maybe, yeah. It's probably not worth it. Yeah, because there's the float, 500,000 shares. So XXIIII is giving you. Just two eyes, is giving you a big win here at the end of the day if you somehow, look at it. It doesn't halt at all. And so finally, no options. Yeah, I didn't think so on that. I mean,
I'd hope not.
I'd hope not as well. But if there was, maybe someone just blew that account up right there. So this name was 5 cents, now $8. So
actually,
making my Palantir trade look a little bit, Come on, Sean, how are you long $11 and the thing's at 70? I'm long this thing 4 cents. It's at $8.
Please don't compare that to Palantir.
My hat's off.
Palantir's all-time high isn't $190,000.
Soon to be.
Split. Assuming this chart is correct, and I have zero reason to believe that there's nothing. Obviously, his stock has probably reverse split a few times. I think that's obvious because I'd remember if this thing actually was 190K. So yeah, 22nd century, that is 197,000 when you adjust for the splits, the all-time high.
Wow.
And it is now at $8.
Kablam.
So yeah, I would venture to say that put this one in the bucket. I didn't know it was this bad. Put it in the bucket with Mullen and light it on fire. But for momentum, congratulations if you happen to have it. Just remember what these usually do when they are these reverse split. And then I guess I can, in the daily, can it show another split?
Well, that's important.
Yeah, so here's the last, this is what you want to see. I want to zoom back a little further. Reverse split, there's a bridge, the same thing. Gap, broke out, and died. So there's obviously there's going to be a bit of a break here. It wasn't as parabolic right away, but essentially broke out after the reverse split. And if it does any kind of a candle like that to die tomorrow, check that on Friday, then probably worth it to look for some shorts. Be very careful with that. That's a nasty, nasty one. Diamond hands, Dr. Marin, I would say the opposite of diamond hands in those. I am more than happy to diamond hands quality companies that make money. That's where my diamond hands lie. I am paper hands if I ever swing trade something like this.
Thank you so much to Brian Owens as well, because I started trading 5 years ago, learning on YouTube. Me too. I belong to various paid streams. That's where we're different. But this is by far the best morning and afternoon show. So thank you so much for that. And yeah, trying to provide a little bit of hopefully some humor, hopefully some good talk. and hopefully some good trades, which I think the proof sometimes is in the pudding. And as you can clearly see right there, it is. I guess you covered your NVIDIA trade. I'm just noticing the
covered NVIDIA, covered Mara. Mara bounced off VWAP. It's 20-cent range on the day. Not the day, sorry, in the afternoon.
Yeah. On
the day, like this is a difference. Like Mara in the morning, I don't know what's going on with that 30 minutes before the open, but it got from 18.8 all the way down to 17.8 with really only, it was like that top and then it was this top here. But the afternoon is just a little, it's just a little sideways. It is what it is. Gerber in the chat, the platform that we are trading on is called P-Pro 8 and it's proprietary to Real Trading. So we trade with Real Trading. And P-Pro 8 is the platform that everybody at Real Trading is used. So we've traded on essentially the same platform. Obviously, it's been updated and had version 1 million in over 20 years, but it's the same platform with just many, many versions over the years. And it's we say 4 traders buy traders. We give input on all the time for things, improvements and different keys that we can add to it and hotkeys and all that kind of fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's obviously going to be
keys.
It's like nothing. No platform is perfect, but what I love about it is if I see something that can be improved, or Sean sees something, we put a ticket in, and then development team looks at it.
Right, like halt bans and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, great point. I think that's important too. Like you're actually going to see, we got a question, the question of the week that I did on Instagram, which has been pretty popular. We all have little things that we putting up there on Instagram, and thank you for continuously supporting that social media as well. We all have Twitter accounts. Instagram's been pretty popular. We have a Twitter Trader TV research package that's out there as well on Twitter, all for free. I said package account that you can go and grab and follow there. Adara's running that, and if there's any stories, I guess throughout the day, she'll sort of post them up. She makes these really cool graphics lately that I try to retweet as well. So yeah, thanks Adara for working that account. But at the end of the day, yeah, that's what it's about, right? It's about the community. It's about following each other and trusting each other to some extent, and getting new ideas throughout there. And I want to thank again. Is that a new one there from Ben? ALRR. Okay, what's up to Ben? And again, here's another example in the chat. I hadn't seen this yet, so there it is right there, Ben. I've been focusing on my positions. God. Obviously, I have 4 positions right now.
That's nasty.
And they're all pretty serious. But there's ALRR, so I'll ask Adara. He's asking, what just happened? So I'm going to say maybe there was some news or something on Yeah,
it just came all the way back, though.
Yeah, have you given the news on this already? Okay, Alarity Therapeutics right now to that downside. So a nice move down into 110. So again, I just say the name and Adair already knows about it. So stay tuned, man. Keep on watching. Sometimes I'll miss some of the throws because, again, 5 positions. But there goes ALRR. I think this is probably a buy down here at $1. Any stock that stays northbound of $1, I like the stock until it breaks below. And I think we've done a good job explaining that many times of why there is sort of that mechanical situation that happens under $1, over $1 as far as delisting.
And someone's been supporting the stock at $1 for a while.
Okay, so yeah, so there you go. So there's been someone there on ALRR, and Adara has some updates.
I do. So again, I'm not seeing anything new on ALLR, Alarity, but I do want to clarify, as mentioned last time, small float, about 1.4 million shares, 10% short float. So that is key there, the very small float and the very significant short float. The other thing I want to mention here with ALLR is the catalyst. There's something floating around here. It does seem to be real, but I have not seen anything on Benzinga then or now, so it's not confirmed. Basically, people are speculating an image here of a patent approval here in Europe. So ALLR potentially here getting a patent in the EU for methods for predicting drug responsiveness in cancer patients. So again, I want to clarify, I'm not seeing any news reporting of this patent, but an image spreading around there. ALLR, rise and falling here with, again, 10% short float, under 2 million share float. Guys, back to you.
Oops, she did it again.
1 minute till, yeah, thank you, Dara. 1 minute till imbalances are less than that. There needs to be a name for this pattern on the daily chart on ALLR. I don't know what to call it, but we usually say it's a repeat offender. Yeah, like, are you kidding me? Reverse split dump, reverse split dump, reverse split dump, reverse split dump. You need to have a hedge fund that just takes advantage, because that's what essentially, probably some hedge fund that just, yay, their bonuses are made shorting ALLR every time it reverse splits. Like it's ridiculous how easy it seemingly is. I've never swung short in my personal account, but you've got to be kidding me. Like those are ridiculous. So if it does it, if the next time this reverse splits, probably want to make a note, and then the second it's back underneath the top, just look for the short every single day. So imbalances are now out. Shoot us on my quote board there. NVIDIA is a buy of 1.6 million. That's not very big. TLT is a sell of 1.5. Pfizer is a buy of 1.3. That's not significant. Intel's 1 million to sell, but that's a cheap stock. Not a big deal. Broadcom, 1 million to buy. That's not bad, although, never mind, Broadcom has split. In my mind, Broadcom's still a $1,000 stock, so a million. Right. Yeah, a million shares, not that big of a deal as well on Broadcom. It's overall 1.7 billion to the buy side for the market. NASDAQ, 237 million, not a lot. The Dow 500, Mag 7, 350. So slight imbalance on NVIDIA. I'm going to call it a nothing burger on NVIDIA. Yeah, it's still sort of hanging out in the same range. It moved all of 20 cents on that imbalance, so clearly it's not going to be a big mover. Probably going to keep eyes on that ALLR at the dollar level, and maybe it'll make a test of the dollar. It's already bounced once. I think this one has a potential. Let's see if it can hold. Like, you've got all kinds of support at that dollar level the last couple of days. Maybe there's a trade there. Nothing on the imbalances, but I don't think we were expecting to see much of anything today, the day before the holiday.
No, I put a bid. Once I saw that come out there, we did wind up bidding out of some TQs. Neil just gave that number, which seemed to be quite large there on a buy side. So we don't need to be hanging around and waiting for anything to happen. So we will get out of the TQs. And again, just holding very, very small positions now on everything as we go. We've already talked about Tesla. I just bid 397. So hopefully that comes in. I do have another bid at, there it is. I do have another bid at 394. So, hey, man, we'll take $3 there. I mean, we're wishing for a little bit more, but wish upon a star. Sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. And right there, Tesla, nice move to the downside. Look, if we can get this 395 at the end of the day, we'll take it. But just to talk about some of these imbalances, I got to get rid of the broker side because I haven't even really looked at them yet. Yeah, so it's NVIDIA with a buy. So that's a decent buy. I think we had a couple million shares yesterday. But as I was talking about it, you guys were trying to, I forget who it was. There was it Marty or somebody else in the chat was like they're really interested to see me talk a little bit more about these imbalances. But NVIDIA, rate this from yesterday. NVIDIA right now not making a huge move on this imbalance. So it's kind of telling you it's a nothing burger. So I think it's probably not going to be an executable strategy there today to go on any kind of a reversal play here on any of these names. I mean, the TLT, I got to get Raider Trader involved here because I thought he liked this name a little bit north. TLT, a little bit north of $90, but right now down to 86. Not that bad. Just get a little bit of an opinion there on what's going on with the Treasury. He liked the 10-year once. I think it hit 4.7 or I can't remember the number.
It was 4.77, I think.
4.3. I can't know, but he was like,
oh,
as soon as this number hits, it's a go. Anyways, don't want to talk about it because it was his trade, so we'll get that next time he's back on. But the TLT. Not bad today, flat, obviously, which isn't bad considering the day, right? So TLT making some moves there. Shout out to our good friend Andrew Rader. Again, you know, smart kid for sure. Well, we'll have him back on and talk more about.
Should we be back on Friday?
Some of these plays, yeah.
I would expect.
Yeah, maybe.
I think we'll have him on Friday.
Oh, yeah, he's not going to be here tomorrow.
We had him last Friday. And
tomorrow's going to be Raheem's going to be on.
We have Raheem coming through. Michael Noss is going to come through. Obviously, we'll all be there. That's the beauty of this, like the round table. You know, you want to talk about options, we'll have Joey Options there. We want to talk about Google, then we'll ask Sharif's opinion on that one, and you can ask us anything. Okay. We can. It doesn't really matter. And for everyone that was asking in the chat sometimes about individual names on the imbalances, not a big problem. But I will say this, so it's the imbalance updates real time. So IonQ, which I was asked about, here, it's at 130K right now, but it keeps flipping. There, you just saw it, 320 to 130. So somebody is like, it's almost like someone's putting an order in and canceling it, which I didn't really think you should be doing back and forth, but whatever. So it's a buy imbalance on IonQ of 130, and then sometimes it shows 320, just going back and forth. But for now, it is a buy imbalance. It's not moving off that imbalance, so clearly nothing affecting it. I'm pretty sure you can't just spam the imbalances with. Nope. You can't put in a buy order into the close, cancel it, and put a buy order into the close, cancel it. I promise you, if that happens, if a trader here did that, like despite the second time they did it, there'd be like a call and be like, stop doing it because you can't do that. But someone's doing it on IonQ, so I wouldn't read into that balance too much. About 30 seconds or 20 seconds till they possibly flip. Alma Hamada, the stream tomorrow, we're going to start it at 9 o'clock. So 99.9% sure we'll be on at 9 o'clock. and there's no time parameter on it. We don't have to worry about the market open. We'll just shoot the you-know-what. Top trade ideas for 2025. I like that graphic.
There we go.
Don't hold us to the ones that you see on the screen.
I got to get some ideas, I guess. Okay.
Because, yeah, we'll probably talk about NVIDIA. I guarantee we'll talk about that. Can't promise we'll talk about Snapchat. John Deere, I don't know if we'll mention. Amazon probably. Netflix almost certainly. Alibaba will probably mention. I see Nike on there. Bitcoin, Roblox, Starbucks, AMD. I can't make out what that is in the middle. Who is that on the 2? The bottom of the 2 and then above it. Yeah,
Alex Karp.
Is that Alex? Okay. That's Alex Karp?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, man.
And then I don't know what's above that. Apple just made a big move on 355, bouncing. So I'm going to guess. Let me just go over here. Shoot, I had this alphabetically. That's what happens when you sort and look for IonQ. Is now all of a sudden this is not sorted by size. So I'm going to guess Apple probably reverted. Just load it back up. And I don't see Apple at all, but it just did a bit of a spike. But 355, sometimes you get big reversions, but Apple wasn't a big imbalance in either direction, and all of a sudden it just shot up about $1.20. So not really sure what caused this to move to the upside, but Apple just went green on the day, believe it or not.
There it is right there, man. We get the flush that we needed. There goes, look at that. And take a look at that. Right there at 395. So a good little trade there for us on Tesla. End the day with a $5 winner. I mean, great. We will end that off right now. And then talk about ending the day with another winner. I mean, here goes Oklo right back to the upside as well. I'm excited for tomorrow. I want to make sure everybody does join us here tomorrow. Raheem, Michael Noss, talking all that jazz. Probably like a midday sort of close on the show. And then, you guys can spend the rest of your time however you want. So join us there tomorrow. We should have a lot of fun, and we will have a lot of fun. I'm not having any fun not getting filled at 33, but we are there on Oklo. We'll wait for that. Tesla, obviously, we just talked about that. Huge trade at the end of the day. It's funny that right there at 357, we actually get the lowest bid that we've gotten all day. And then I put a stop on AMD. I thought it was around 121.80s. I guess it didn't go out, so okay, that's lucky.
Good look, I got to the desk. I didn't realize only 2 minutes left.
I was way too slow on getting over there. The computer wasn't even working yesterday. I had to reboot it, so go have a quick look at that.
Seriously?
All right, I think it's fine now. 121.80 there to close out the day on AMD. All right, 2.5 minutes left. Salute to everybody there. I hope you guys had a good day. It was a little rough early. We talked about, actually, I lied. It wasn't really that rough early. AMD was a good trade that carried us. This was basically the first trade that we had. Sans Silo. Silo was a pre-market trade. Like, we took that at 8 o'clock, man, 8:30 right there. As soon as we went on air, we were just in it just before as we broke $2, and we averaged it back in. So this was really quite a good trade for me there to start the day. Happy to have made it. But again, could always make a little bit more money. We'll see if we can do that again tomorrow on SILO. Fubo was, of course, a big winner as well in the game. We are going to go over. I was about to go over the sectors there today, but Neil's just going to do that. That's the thing that we do on the market recap show. Check out some sectors to trade, which ones are hot, which ones are not. And right now, Fubo down that 3%, looking like continuation to the downside on Fubo here as we break through VWAP. Just watch out. I mean, it's kind of going to be what it is right now. People still chanting about ALLR. I like it above $1. The problem is the next time I'm going to see all of you with a live open is jobs. So I'm nervous about it. I feel like I've done a good job talking about that. And yeah, it does make me a little bit nervous. Tesla, I'm fine with it, still hovering around $400. I think Apple, as long as we stay above that 240, we actually indicated that earlier today. We said we're buying 240s. Crazy that we don't have that long. We should have shorted it there into today. All right, man, a minute left. Again, good day overall here on the floor. I hope it was a good day for you guys. And no matter where you're trading, just trade safe. And I know that might sound ridiculous, but I really mean, like, trade, make sure that you have the right stops, make sure you have the right orders, the right entries, and everything. And I think a good example right there, AMD, there's my out right there on advanced micro devices to end that trading. And that's it, man. That's a wrap on the day. We do have the countdown ready to go. I'm going to cancel all my stops because I am flat. Got to make sure we do that. Here comes the countdown right now with only 2 seconds left. Oh, it's Adara on the bell. So this bell brought to you by Hive. Check out Hive there on the NASDAQ, HIVE, HiveDigitalTech.com, 2 and 1. And that puts a close on the day. Thank you so much, Miss Adara. Now she's going to run back there, do the and do the recap show. And yeah, as I said, the next time we will see you will be tomorrow. Despite the market being closed, we're going to be open, having a lot of fun. Should be a good one today. Oh, my daughter is back in the batting cages there today. So quite the little hockey player, quite the baseball player, back at a sort of a workout place, an indoor place here in Toronto. I'm going to go there right now. It's always great to be back in there. She's with one of her friends. They're in the cages today, so that should be a lot of fun. I can't wait to go see her hit some around. But all right, for everybody here, Brendan. I see you, Brendan. Brendan's gone already. We had Sharif, see ya. Oh, Sharif's gone. Joe, have a good. All right, Obi is Obi's there. Obi's here. Obi's here. There. Oh boy, there he is. What's up, Obi? High five. High five. High five. Very nice. Very nice. Hey, high five, Obi. Very nice. Very nice. All right, there we go. Let's go over to the other show. We're having a good time, man. We're on one today, and we're on one every day. Thank you so much, Long This, for that super chat. That was great. We had a lot of fun there. We'll talk to Ram and Sharif tomorrow. Thank you, Bears vs. Bulls, for everything that you've done for us one more time today. Fabian, thank you so much, man. Great day as well. Ramin, pretty good day as well. Andre, thank you so much for all the stuff that you do. I am just blabbing on and on and on. Are we ready to go over there yet? Am I throwing it over there, Fabian? All right, we're ready to go. Thank you so much, everybody. I'll see you all tomorrow. For Sean, Adara, everybody. Well, Adara's right there. For everybody that's not here, we'll see you tomorrow. Neil and Adara, they're on right now.
Thank you very much, Sean. There, just like, are we going to us? Are we not going to us? Obi, what's going on with the hoodie, man? Everyone's gonna think that we don't pay the heating bills around here. Is it really, like, as I say that, wearing a sweater? Like, I know it gets chilly in the office, but if you got the flow, you got to show off the flow. I'm the one that should be wearing a toque, as far as I'm concerned. So, obviously a fun day trading. Here, shout out to Obi. You do whatever works, man. I know the boys like to keep it comfortable. You know, no dress code on the trading floor here. It was a topsy-turvy day in the market that didn't break the range in either direction. So it was a bit of a choppy day. But as I look at my notes, curated wonderfully by Adara, the market did something right around 12 o'clock. It made an attempt to break out those lows to the downside. Now, for the life of me, I'm trying to figure out what possibly happened around 12 to get, and I was like, I'll go away from this interesting looking chart to the Qs, which this is the turnaround right at noon. And was there a trading opportunity? Potentially, there were plenty of them here. And then I look at what happened on this stock at about 12 o'clock, Adara, and for the life of me, I can't figure out what someone might have done with this here.
I mean, I can tell you what I did with it.
Wow, we what?
I shorted it. So initially, I will say, went long on MSTR for this. I had reasons. Basically, I had like kind of an over-under at that 333, which was a flat bottom. But at this point, we were bouncing really nicely. I went long very briefly, got stopped out. Whatever, fine. You know what I mean? As you said, too, all your losing trades should be boring. And this was. But then I was like, you know what? I love flipping directions if the market gives me reasons to. And so then we actually break that 333. So I went short. I was risking to. I need to check here as to where I was risking to because I do not remember where the order was on that. But it was probably, I'm guessing, it was probably prior bar on the 15. Let me see. Yes. Okay. So I got in. Yeah, I risked about $1.50. So it was going to be basically that 334.50 area. I had drawn a trend line. That was basically where I was wrong. I was cool with that. So that was risking 1.5. The best exit for this was $13. So I think it's decent RR. Basically, once the trade started working, because it was a momentum trade, what I like doing momentum trades is I like to give it to prior bar high in the 3 minute. Because 1 minute's a little too chip choppy, 5 minutes a little too much room. I like the 3, especially when you trade spread, because we're talking like sometimes $5 differences in a 3-minute candle, right? So that's why I like to do prior bar on the 3, got short 330 290s. I had, for some reason, I don't know why I thought I had way more shares than I did on this. I don't know if I like typed, because it's not even like the numbers I had were even close to each other in the keyboard. Either way, I'm not going to complain. I'm happy with the trade. Happy I got the reps in. Do I wish it was more size? Sure. Am I going to cry over spilled shares? Absolutely not. Because I think also, because I had less, I was a lot more calculated about where I offloaded. So I took off one piece here, 320s, whole dollar level. We were chopping and trading around there. It made sense to me. Then when we broke above that prior bar at 321s, I got stopped out. $12 win even with the stop out. So who's going to complain about having less shares than they wanted? Not me. And I learned a lot from this. I will likely post it on my X, Trader TV Adara. And look, we almost flat bottom broke that area again, the slightly lower.
Yeah.
So I think this MSTR 330 is really interesting. Another area stock that I was watching around the 330 area today was APP, but it was a lot less chip choppy. The short in APP that I wanted came at the same time as MSTR. Chose my horse, happy with the horse I chose. Clip Club.
Yeah, well, you got to make sure you're, like, again, when you take a trade, you've got to be able to, focus on that individual stock. There's going to be an opportunity you miss in that moment. It happens every single day. In that moment, for everyone looking, it was probably the big drop in the NASDAQ at the same time as Bitcoin. Yes. So we're going to go through some sectors here, but Bitcoin did make a big drop. What I want to point out here is have a look at the curl on Bitcoin and where they are. Like, you had a double bottom on the RSI, and then you had a capitulation bottom. And obviously, that's a decent sign for a turnaround. Like, when you talk about a trend trade back to the upside, it was not a very good day, obviously, for Bitcoin. It ends up being a trend down, but that move right in the middle of the day is what carried the most weight. We showed you guys what happened to the Qs. There's no way we can look at the individual sectors without looking at the unfortunate reversal again. The solar names just keep getting beaten up. And every single time you think that it's going to turn, solar down 4% today. And it did another fake out at the 50-period moving average. There it is. Tried to break out the 50-period moving average, complete rejection, and then just broke back down. So I'm not calling this the Widowmaker, but I don't know how many times it's going to trap people above a major moving average, although I guess the game isn't over on solar. We all know what happened to some of the quantum names. You also had some of the nuclear names pull back, but uranium still working to the downside and downward trending, down 1.5 points there. Not as bad. And we're going to talk about, well, I don't know. I'm definitely tomorrow going to mention Alibaba when we do our stream. Got some ideas about Alibaba. Holding forward. Only 1/3% down today was the FXI. So this bottom that got made, it's a pretty significant level on FXI that's worth monitoring. You had this top at 29.5, then we had the stimulus, support at 29.5, once, twice. Now 3 times we're bouncing off this same area. Obviously, lower highs into a flat bottom does mean if it breaks down, it is a good short setup, so I'm not going to pretend that it doesn't also work in the other direction. Pretty good day up top here for the metals. Gold, GLD gets back, GLD specifically, gets back above the 50, kind of resuming its, I guess, upward trend after a little bit of a pullback was GLD. But Adara, outside of that move in MSTR, you can't ignore what Jensen did to Quantum today.
Oh,
because
no.
it was a bloodbath, and we had, for anyone that doesn't know, CEO Jensen Huang of NVIDIA mentioning at CES that quantum computing is probably, I think it was 15 to 30 years was the range he gave before there were any significant breakthroughs and any profitability. That sent the entire quantum market into a tailspin.
Okay.
IonQ closed down 40%. D-Wave was down, last I checked, somewhere in the 30 to 35% range to the downside. You also had Rigetti, which got smoked. That was down. At one point, it was down 50% on Rigetti. All of these broke trend. All of these got absolutely smoked here today. And a lot of people are looking for a bounce spot. I just want to say, remember the 3-day rule. We just had, this is as big as having earnings or having the election or something like that. It's a major event. Allow them to calm down before you start thinking about where to buy the dip. And obviously, it's been a great run up, but this is what can happen when they start to unwind.
Yeah, and it's interesting, too. I was actually having this conversation with Jose a couple of weeks ago in the back, and he basically what he said, because we were talking about like quantum versus nuclear, he said nuclear probably has more of like a short-term case than quantum. And he totally called it. Like, I don't know if he got this straight, but either way, this is like really dope. And so this was kind of on my mind too when I heard Jensen say that because of this conversation I had. Two more things I want to say quickly on quantum. One, Martin Shkreli, Pharma Bro, also called this. And I remember Sean was mentioning, what else is he kind of called? He called the Sava short. He wrote a 38-page paper on why Sava's Alzheimer treatment, in his words, not that just he doesn't think it will work, he knows it will not work. So he totally called Sava. Martin Shkreli, slowly gaining some cred, admittedly not in the area that he initially had his career in, but he's definitely gaining some cred in terms of his specifically short cases and his analysis of some of these things. My second point on quantum is, I wonder, because they're also SSR, if we get a bounce on Friday, but Jensen has a lot of pull in the market. And so I think just the fact these dumped so hard, we'll have to wait and see. These are not really my herb. I'll probably watch them. I don't know if I'll necessarily be looking to trade these names. Either way, though, they're certainly fascinating. I think they'll probably give you opportunities for the next one now.
Yeah, and one thing, and just to get both sides of it, anybody that doesn't know who Martin Shkreli is, he's called the Pharma Boy. Yeah. So when he made the call on Sava, like I remember reading some of that as well. Like he has a very quality and sound understanding of the biopharma space. Absolutely. Like there's no question he knows his stuff, right? Like when somebody has a great knowledge and spent years going over reports and fundamentals, and so he knows that to a T. He was talking about the quantum shorts before just today, though. So he was saying that they were short. Just on the nuclear names, just for a quick little second there was a pullback across the board on anything that had been parabolic recently. We had multiple offerings in the pre-market that didn't bode well for some of the penny stocks. New Scale here is down 9%. Like that took it a little bit on the chin. It tried to break trend back to the upside, and there's a rejection of the 50. We're in a settling period for some of these names that were going parabolic, and I think when that happens, you've got to be a little bit patient. I do see Phil of the Future in the chat. Tomorrow is quantum presentation at CES. We may see a bounce upwards. But we'll have to wait for Friday for that bounce. And that's going to be, everyone has a couple of days to digest it. So on Friday, you're going to have a ton of SSR names, like there'll be day 2 type plays. I'm pretty sure the one, well, you know what? I mean, everyone likes their own horse, whichever one you want to trade. I just find that like Rigetti and D-Wave have a lot of volatility. They look the best. Rigetti didn't really give much of a bounce. Like it closed under VWAP, man. It closed under the 50-period moving average, closed under $10 as well. So it hasn't made, you've got one bottom made today at $9. We'll see if it can hold that level. We'll have the uptick rule in effect, obviously, on Friday, and we'll have to check that one out. So at the end of the day, there's a bunch of things that we got to watch out for. I do want to go back over to our good friend Tesla, because we've talked a little bit about some of the squeeze names recently and the downward trend. Well, Tesla's in a downward trend as well. And it didn't have that bad of a day, I should say, closing flat. I don't feel like that tells the real story for Tesla, that it closed flat, because when you really look at it, it seemed for a moment, and NVIDIA did this too, it seemed for a moment that you were in the midst of a recovery and a breakout, because it looked like a liquidity grab under 390 in the early pre-market, topped that 400, and then kept failing the $400 level. So still working to the downside with a trap breakout. NVIDIA was guilty of exactly the same thing. Trap breakout, although I would say it was a little more extreme in terms of how it fell off. We've got some big cap names that are not out of the water yet. I think NVIDIA still looks bearish. Tesla still looks bearish. Alphabet I put into that category as well, as much as I like them. All failing recent highs and lacking follow through when they tried to catch a bid today.
I really quickly want to step in there too on Tesla, because you mentioned, Tesla, I mean, this daily chart is kind of rough, but it's interesting. Ahead of tomorrow, I've been working on some graphics for TTV Research that we're going to have out there. We posted one on Bitcoin, I guess public companies that hold Bitcoin, but I've also been working on here on the weighting of the S&P 500. So this took way longer than I thought. I started collecting the data last week. Looks like we're going to finish hopefully by tomorrow. But the reason I bring this up is because TSLA, when I looked at this last week, actually was lower weighted in the S&P 500 than Broadcom. Now it's actually above Broadcom in weighting. So even though we've had this drop, it's clearly reclaimed some weighting here from Broadcom, which let's see what AVGO did over the last couple of days. Yeah, AVGO in a downtrend. So that makes sense. But I think it's interesting. TSLA actually climbing up here in the top 10 when it comes to S&P 500 weightings, even if the stock is on the move to the downside. Because I thought that was really interesting. I just discovered that like 20 minutes ago, so it's a new fun fact for me. But yeah, Tesla maybe trying to climb its way up into terms of what the S&P 500 is weighted, but you'll see that whole graphic tomorrow, so I don't want to spoil too much.
We've got a lot planned for you guys tomorrow. Just a reminder to everybody, the market is closed. The U.S. markets, I should say, are closed tomorrow, but we have a stream for you anyways. We're all going to be on, the entire team here at 9 o'clock. We'll go, I don't know, we might go to lunchtime. I don't think there's a firm time. We're going to be doing Q&A. We're going to be talking best ideas for 2025. That's trading ideas, investing ideas, swing ideas, anything you guys want us to cover. And on that note, we did get a super chat just now from Rookie Cooker. Shout out to you. Thank you for the super chat. If possible, could you guys please talk about Amazon, Alibaba, and Walgreens tomorrow? I'd like to get your opinions on either the technicals or the fundamentals. I'm going to make a note to myself. I can tell you right now, and I kind of hinted at it, Alibaba was going to be 100% talked about. I'm fairly certain. I would say Sean's the most bullish on Amazon of our group, so I'm pretty sure you'll hear about Amazon. But I will do some work on Walgreens because it's not a stock that I'm not really that interested in, and I can't say that I'm in it or have been in it, and I haven't really dug into the chart, but certainly we'll have a look at that. So feel free to ask tomorrow, but I'll make a note to go over Walgreens at least a little bit. Do want to cover this 22nd century because I saw people talking about it in the chat, and we were trying to warn at least a little bit about this one and ALLR and what typically happens. So this is what has just happened clearly in 22nd century, which was a $6 stock that I think it halted once, maybe twice, almost doubled it up, and right back to where it started. So there was this one in the afternoon, and there was ALLR, Alarity Therapeutics, with pretty much the same pattern. Here's what I'll show you on the daily chart for ALLR. This is what a daily chart looks like for ALLR. You go all the way back, and it's nonsense. You zoom it in, reverse split, dump, pump, dump. ALLR has done it, and 22nd Century has done the same thing. So this is what we talk about. No one ever goes broke taking profits. And I'll be the first person to tell you that it cuts both ways. If you look to limit risk when you're taking longs in stocks like this as they start to go, you're going to give up some upside. There's no free lunch. Right? Like if you bank profit so that you can't lose if it goes all the way back to zero on it, that also means you don't have as many shares if this thing goes to $50. But I think you live with that, or at least most traders live with that trade-off so that they don't get absolutely rinsed. So always be very careful trading these names, especially the ones that are repeat offenders like this. So obviously, you know, I hate seeing it happen. Usually when a stock runs like that in the afternoon, maybe you get more than 30 minutes out of it or an hour out of it. And both those two names, big breakouts that ended up giving the entirety of the move back in the same power hour that they started to run. So unfortunately, these two look pretty nasty. But the warning signs are there on the daily when we see these. Yeah.
I would agree. And I think the thing, too, is like with these, even the news for Alarity, right? It was running on that European patent. Now, I could not find any evidence of this patent. Now, I'm not saying this patent doesn't exist. Perhaps it does. But it's always hard when you're looking on Benzinga and you can't find any confirmation of the news. You're only seeing screenshots, rumors, whatever, right? So I think with small caps, it's always worth it to be careful. Shreve talks about this a lot, too, right? Like, it's something where you have to exercise a lot of caution when you trade these names. Anything that's kind of more volatile, right? Like, on the flip side of that, as someone who trades primarily, if not exclusively, a lot of spready names with large market caps, it's the same kind of thing where you have to be really aware of volatility. You can go from in the money to out of the money very quickly. Like I've started to make different rules for if I take things in the first half hour, because you'll have situations where you're like, oh, you're doing splendidly, and then so you have to basically scalp sometimes in order to get what you want. And I think obviously very different, but I think there are some similarities in those spaces. But you guys definitely check out the stream tomorrow. I actually was thinking today, I think I know what I might talk about for that top idea.
Well, don't spoil it.
Well, yeah, I'm not spoiling, but just something I have on my eye on. Put it that way. I don't know if I will, but some ideas happening for sure.
That's what I like to see. And the best part about it, and when you join us tomorrow morning, is we have all different perspectives, all different, it's not just level of experience, but like different backgrounds here on the program and different styles. And that's the real value I've always said that's the value of a trading floor. It's the value of the program, is that you're going to be able to get not just one perspective on the market, multiple. And that's the tricky thing about trading, because we all know our own perspective and we're in our own heads. But I've found in my trading journey, I always want someone that I'm talking to be looking at it differently from me. Because if somebody is looking over, I'm going over a trade with somebody, and all they're doing is seeing exactly the same things that I see in the same way, then how am I supposed to gain anything? That's what the community is all about there. Shout out, thank you very much, David, for the chat, for the kind words. And I also saw someone saying, have a look at Jeff earnings. So obviously, this is not a heavy earnings week. Jefferies Financial, which is not a gigantic name, but it's 16 billion market cap. It's not absolutely nothing. It moved, and it is moving a little bit on earnings. There was a move up, followed by a retracement. It's now flat on the session, as you can see here. I can see the numbers. I mean, they did beat on EPS, 93 cents versus 91. They beat on sales actually pretty nicely. Sales were 1.96 billion, beating estimates of 1.78. So that's actually a pretty good beat.
It's not bad at all.
That's a good revenue beat, man. Like, that's almost 10%. But it's not doing anything. So it's flat on the session after beating on revenues of 20%. 7.5% short float. So not a heck of a lot of volatility in this name. But hey, if it reports and you guys want to hear about it, we'll let you guys know no matter what. So if you have any questions, please let us know. JRO in the chat just says, Disney getting a small pop. Can't imagine why. I mean, Disney is getting a little bit of a move. I wonder if Fubo is moving. Fubo, of course, getting the big move after that Disney.
I think I found out what Disney is. It's not Fubo related. There is news though.
Okay, excellent. What do we got?
Yeah, so CNBC reporting here that Disney has announced so it just sounds like Disney announced it. 157 million ad-supported monthly active users across their streaming services. So MAU is 157 million here for Disney across their streaming services. Disney has definitely been pretty aggressive in the streaming game, so good look here for DIS. This could be a name that's in play for Friday. I have a question.
I was going to say I am one of those.
Oh, nice.
And
how is the ad tier?
Well, I think the ads are fine. I actually just started watching a show on Disney, which is, so far, it's like really good. Like, I think Mark Strong is in it. I just want to find the name of it. I actually have to go in and check my phone because I don't remember the name of the show. It's kind of like they're Deep State. So I started watching this show called Deep State, and already I'm kind of captured. It's kind of like a Homeland feel towards it, but that's on Disney. Obviously, Disney gets the benefit of Moana, blowing up, Moana 2. I don't think it's as good as the first, but obviously it was very, very successful. Wicked as well, which I still have yet to see. I'm kind of disappointed that I haven't seen Wicked. My daughter's not as interested in seeing it as I would have thought, so she doesn't want to go to the theater. She doesn't want to go to the theater to watch it. So I'm going to wait until it's on Disney for free, and then we'll probably be able to watch it that way. But Disney is pulling back off of that news. It was able to get up to 112, a little bit of a pullback into 111, and it's still going to be down overall, but that's because it was a down day. It is up in the aftermarket there on Disney. I see Elite March saying that Costco has jumped in the chat, jumped up a little bit.
Costco for the last month.
Costco always does their monthly numbers, right?
We do have their monthly numbers.
There you go. So monthly numbers now out for Costco. They're up $10 here, 1.5%.
Yeah, also, okay, Costco, fair warning. I say this as someone who trades spread. This one's really rough to day trade. Like, if you don't get your first entry you want, maybe steer clear. Regardless, though, COST, wow, they have fallen since earnings. They were near 1,000 at earnings. Anyways, right now they're around 940. They did report here net sales of $27.52 billion for the retail month of December. So that is a 9.9% year-over-year increase. Great look here. Their comparable sales are up 7.4% year-over-year. Their wholesale comparable sales up 7.4% year-over-year. And their overall comp sales up 9.9%. So comp sales up. Wholesale comp sales up. Wholesale net sales up. Yes, that's saying sales a lot in one sentence, but either way, Costco, all these metrics to the upside.
And that's what you got to like here. That's actually confluences pretty nicely, to steal a term from Obi, to something that you sent, Adara, which I'm going to pull up.
Oh, it does, yeah.
Consumer spending during the holiday season, which ticking up 2022 to 23 to 24, almost approaching the $250 billion mark. So I think that clearly bodes well for some of the retailers that you got a good holiday season. maybe not so much reflected directly to Costco. They're a bit of a different story. And I get asked this a lot because I know I said, all last year I said I was waiting for a pullback on Costco to buy it, and then Costco pulls back and I bought Walmart. But I did try to explain that I find that in my personal account, I end up with like too many individual stocks in it. So I'm really trying to streamline. Like if I like a stock in a specific space, I own Amazon, I own Amazon, I own Walmart. I'll leave it at that. I don't need Costco. And I owned CrowdStrike and I owned Palo Alto. So I sold some Crowd at the top and buying some Palo Alto on dips. I could try to keep it a little bit more simple, I think here. So obviously a good look for Costco. The only thing about it is, as you get up to the top, you're going to see it's at 943 right now. Well, that corresponds with the 50-period moving average. So it's going to run into some resistance, I think, on, well, I guess obviously now and then Friday because the market's not open tomorrow. But also worth keeping in mind, when are you going to split Costco? Because it's a little ridiculous, man.
Like, I even find them hard to day trade. So, like, and I say that as someone who loves expensive spready tickers. Costco, please split. Lily, Netflix, you're cool. I don't care. Meta, same. I can handle you.
Right.
Costco, split. Like, when you're near 1,000, it's
too much.
The slippage is crazy. And again, you got to be used to slippage if you trade spread. But Costco, I traded it once, and I took, like, no shares knowing this. Like, I took shares, but you know what I mean? I took less shares. And I still got slipped, like $1. So I was like, okay, Costco. And then it worked right after. So, like, always I say exercise caution with this name. I have no problem with the Costco split, actually.
Yeah, I remember I was trading. It was Sean was off one day. It was like maybe a year or two ago, and I was on with Max.
Oh, okay.
And I remember I had it was before split. It was before SMCI, and SMCI was obviously a really high price stock, and I had a trade on it that was like my best trade of the week. And then I remember I trailed out of it for a winning trade. And I'll never forget the experience because Max was like, "Oh, that was pretty good." And I turned to Max and I was like, "Not really, it wasn't." And the reason why it wasn't a good trade was because I looked at where I got filled when it trailed out and was like, the amount of slippage that I got trailing out of a third of that position, had this position not worked and I had been stopped out for a loss and took the slippage that I got on that other out, I would have lost twice as much as so I essentially didn't know that I was risking twice as much. I hadn't really traded the stock before. So sometimes you can't judge a winning trade in a vacuum. When I saw the liquidity when it ran a level and did a reversal, I was like, oh crap, that was way bigger of a move than I expected on the slippage. Had I just been flat out wrong on the trade, my risk was almost twice what I thought it was. So therefore, the fact that I was up on it wasn't irrelevant because I've risked more than I expected to. And that's the thing about trading. It doesn't matter, and I say this all the time, like it doesn't necessarily matter what you make or lose in a day, because you'll trade 3 or 4 different stocks and 3 or 4 different strategies. Like I'll look at something like MAR. Like take MAR that worked today. I know it's 427. I'm just going to give you an example. Like take MAR that worked today. Like I would judge, like if you take a short here that I'm giving to prior high or a short here and giving to 19, okay, so you've got to ask yourself, when this trade works, ask yourself how much you made on it and then how much you would have lost if it ran the 19 stop, right? So when you're in your position, whatever you would have lost, just make sure, because I've seen this before. I've seen traders where like you can have this short in here, but you're not making enough on the dump that if it broke 19, it's worth it. Yeah. Like, and that's an important thing, because that's a trade that worked. And a lot of times a trade will work, and that's your end of your analysis. You're not paying attention to like what was your drawdown on it. Tesla could be an example. Like if you had Tesla's a great example because it was a 400 short.
Yes.
So if you were giving it a couple of dollars off the 400 level, or you were just shorting it at 400 on the way back through, clearly it's a working trade. But if you were shorting it on the way up, how much did you have to draw down? How much was it against you? How close did it come to running your stop? Had it run your stop, how much would you have lost? Mark that against how much you ended up winning, and then you know if you're efficient in terms of getting out of the trade. Now, that's why I've been favoring in this market, like setups like the one I tried on Tesla, which is a mean reversion. And what I like about that setup is I can go like this, I can pick up a trend line, like when it does this off a distinct bottom, where it does that, and I know my entry is going to be somewhere in here as tight as possible, and risk to the prior bar high, which I have to zoom in to be able to see, but that's about like 396. So you're short somewhere in here at 95. You don't want to chase it, risking $1 change. And then you've got a range to the bottom. You've got other support levels to take profit. And then suddenly I'm only I don't have to worry about averaging in. It's a kind of strategy. I don't love averaging in. It's just my style of trading. I don't like it. So I'd rather find an entry rule that gets me a single point of entry, and then I know where my stop is going to be. But everyone to each their own. And this is why I'll show those that entry strategy. The thing about that MSTR, when you had that flat bottom break, it's very similar. It breaks, you're in, you know where your stop is.
Yeah, and I'm not adding anything.
Yeah, it's easier, more binary. I think for new traders, or if you're novice or you're just starting out, it's a little bit easier to work with. When you start out, you don't necessarily want to be, I have multiple entry points. That's going to be, leave that for when you get more experience and more profits in there.
Sometimes it makes sense. Like there are times, even I remember I averaged up to be clear, I averaged like when I was in the money in the direction. But I did that with Lily once in an FOMC trade, and it worked. To be clear, it worked. But you have to have a ton of confidence, and you have to have like stops. But that's also like really quickly, I know we just got the bell, but one thing I want to say too with what you said is that I totally agree with you when it comes to calculating for slippage and calculating for if it goes against you with your entries. Like if I have to risk a ton and I don't have at least like a 2 or 3 to 1 risk to reward, I'm not going to take a spready trade because I do not have a reason to, because the amount I'm going to risk on slippage is way more than the amount that I could possibly win if I even take part of it out. So yeah, I just want to really shout you out for that because I really relate to that. And I think it's a really good point for everybody to know.
That's what we're all about here. It's all about dropping that knowledge and sort of learn from the things that we have learned so that your trading journey doesn't have to be as long as it usually is, because trading's not an easy thing, everybody. And anybody that tells you that it's easy probably isn't doing it or hasn't been doing it for very long. But it is that time of the day. We're past 4:30. Reminder to everybody, tomorrow the U.S. markets are closed in observance of the passing and commemorating former President Jimmy Carter. So we'll be open. We're going to be here. We're going to do a trades of 2025, ideas for 2025, and a Q&A for everybody starting at 9 a.m. But right now, it's time for a little roll call action. So before we get the roll call in, I always try to say to everybody, appreciate the community that we have, and give a big shout out to Ram, obviously doing a little bit of it wasn't wheelies, I guess it was donuts. You guys got to see that in the midday. That's pretty cool. Of course, to Fabian, shout out to both them on the 1s and 2s, to Andre on our socials. Big shout out to Obi, who's done a fantastic job for filling us in. And then the midday crew was back, right? So Obi was filling in for Sharif and his Bash brother, Joey Options.
Oh.
Hey, she's in there, right? There's Joey.
Yeah, with the quantum dot.
Well, that's actually Jose that's sitting with Obi right now.
Obi and Jose, both of them.
Which is hilarious because I found out at poker night that Jose is just a nickname.
I found that out because you found this out.
It's
because
ridiculous.
I said it. Everyone thought his name was Jose, and then one day BPI, you guys remember BPI? We were randomly having a conversation, and Yannick's like, "Oh, you guys know his name's not Jose, right?" And BPI and I were like, "What are you talking about?" But yeah, so nickname that went insanely far to the point where multiple people in this office did not realize that was not his name.
I mean, when you're on a trading floor with somebody for a year, and I feel like I find out a year later that that's a nickname that people gave you on the floor. I'm not even calling you by your real name. I actually felt like I'm being rude the whole time.
I felt shocked.
I was pretty shocked about it. But like I said, give a shout out to everyone on the crew. Big shout out, of course, to my man Sean, to Adara, to Brendan, to Bears versus Bulls, the best moderator in the business. So hit that subscribe so you can be in the chat, and then drop some love in the chat as we go into roll call with Adara.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Fabian. Thank you, Ramin. Also, Ramin got me this little pad here for like a mouse pad because I was like, oh, my wrists are dying on this desk. So shout out to Ramin very much for that. I've been much more comfortable. Shout out to Neil. Shout out to the Bash brothers. Shout out to Obi. Shout out to Sharif, Joe. We have Neil and Sean. We have Brendan. We have Andre as well. And we have roll call here. We got Neil Roberts in the chat. Darwin, Junior Son, Ari Pages, Bears versus Bulls, Nightbot, Just Brad V. I know I should always shout out Nightbot. And Nick Starter. We have Paul. We've got Marlon B. William James Mitchell, Rossa, Easy Peasy Profits, Ari Pages again, NYC Urbanista. We have Oliver Katsaros. We have Crypto, FOMO, Taya. We've got Derek Thompson, Guap7. I like that. Guap10. Sorry, you sound like a SoundCloud rapper. I love it. 3 7s, Sir MRM. We've got Robert Liu, Hans Beer. Last but not least, thank you guys so much here to Miles High Momo, for everything. Guys, thank you for everything you do. And yeah, that is a true story. No lie there about us literally not realizing this man's name was not Jose. But also, yeah, lots of graphics in the works. I'm really excited to show you guys some of these infographics I've been working on. So should be a really fun stream. Please feel free to check it out. I think it'll be a good time.
And for everybody out there, just the whole nicknames on the trading floor thing, I can tell you right now, pretty much nobody called, when I started out on the floor, and Sean was the training manager at the time, the risk manager, nobody called Sean Sean. I knew Sean since high school. Everyone called him Shakady because it was like the trading ID, like the first couple of letters of your first name and then the first few from your last name. So everyone called him Shakady, S-H-C-A-T-E for Sean Katina. So a lot of people, obviously you knew it was Sean, but you'd say, hey, what's up, Shakady? And people called me Nairobi because Neil Roberts.
That's amazing.
And so, like, back in the day, it was all about the nicknames when you were on a trading floor. They don't really do that so much. Everyone's just like, Obi's Obi. And
there's some nicknames a little bit, like, I mean, Sharif gives us all nicknames. So that's, Sharif's trying to keep that culture alive, I guess, you know.
He is. And what will be alive tomorrow, despite the market holiday, is Trader TV Live will be there for you at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Special edition of the show. It's going to be our plays of 2025 and a special Q&A. So tune in tomorrow morning. Enjoy the holiday, of course. Everyone in California, be safe from those wildfires. We'll see you at 9 o'clock for a special edition of Trader TV Live. Bye, guys.
See you guys. Bye.